Hey guys, welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. Okay, today I am really very excited because Chang'e 5, China's own Chang'e 5 is coming back towards Earth with the moon rocks or moon soil or whatever you want to say. I mean, this will be such a huge success for China and for the whole world because the space activities and space science is related to the whole world. So I'm guessing this will benefit the whole world. So let's hope this is like that only. And right now I'm trying really very hard to get some kind of a live stream for you guys. um, there I mean I have something for you to see, but that won't be a good thing. So yeah, that's why I'm trying here my best. So if you are just new here and don't know what is Chang'e 5 and everything, I'll explain you that. So right now the countdown timer is there. You can see it's around t minus 12 minutes or so left until the it enters the atmosphere. It's not the landing time, it's the when it will enter the atmosphere. And for your surprise guys, I have I don't know whether it will work or not, or whether it will be visible from here or not, but I can have a live stream of Fireball for you guys. Yup. I mean, the trajectory goes from there, from like not exactly overhead, but yeah, somewhat overhead. So, and the weather conditions also play a role here. I mean, I'm trying my best right now, but there can be some glitch, or you can say something can go wrong with also with my live stream also. So, pardon me for that, but I'll try to get some fireball footage if I can have that visible. Okay, so yeah, we are right now t minus 11 minutes from the it to enter. And if you don't know what Chang'e 5 is, as you can see here, this is a Long March 5 rocket on which it was launched, and it had four sections: orbiter, re-entry capsule, the lander, and the ascender. This is the ascender, not any not the descender. And the goal of this mission was to, or you can say is to collect the moon samples in the sample container and then transfer it back towards Earth for analysis, study, science, and all. Okay, so it's a very ambitious mission because China is like going crazy this time with all the four modules going to work perfectly. I mean, in sync and in coordination and perfectly all right. Everything should work. Otherwise, one thing, if only one thing goes wrong, mission goes wrong. So yeah, and the technologies which they have tested in this, I mean, that are mind blowing. So after that, when it was launched from the Long March 5 rocket, this is the heaviest rocket the China has. Then it was like placed in a very high elliptical orbit around the Earth. Initially it was placed in that, and then the propulsion module of this Chang'e 5 spacecraft was used to transfer it to a TLI trajectory, which is trans-lunar injection. Okay, and then after it went there, it was captured there. And then you can say, since it has four, you can see, right, it has four components. So what happened when it went there, got into the lunar orbit successfully, and then separated, this lander and the ascender got separated, this section got separated from the orbiter, and then this lander landed onto one spot on the northwest side of the moon called Mons Rumker. And there it started drilling the sample after it landed. That it landing also was successful, guys. Yeah, the landing was also successful. Then there it was, it actually drilled the samples, and that also I had the live stream. I had live streams of every event, for the launch, for the insertion, and landing on the moon, lift off from the moon, everything. So you can check that out. I have the playlist on my channel. So yeah, then it drilled the sample. It collected the samples from in two ways: drilling as well as grabbing the sample, or you can say scooping the samples. Okay, so it did correctly that thing, that maneuver, you can say, or that function, you can say. And the main mission requirement for the today's mission is like 2 kg of lunar soil, in which 3/4 will be from scooping and 1/4 will be taken from drilling. So yeah, that's the thing. And then we have like the maximum it can carry is 4 kilograms. That's the thing. Okay. Then we had the lift off from the ascent module. This is the ascent module after the everything was collected and stored into the ascent module. Then we had a lift off takeoff from the lunar surface, and then this docking was like fully autonomous. Yeah, fully autonomous. This was the first ever fully autonomous docking around another celestial body other than the earth. So it was like really very cool thing. And then the docking happened. The sample transfer was there, like the sample was transferred from the ascent module to the return capsule, and then this ascent module got detached. But here the thing comes, after the ascent module got detached, we really don't know what happened to the ascent module. Okay, I mean, China said it hard landed, or no, it was a controlled landing onto the surface, but some sources, some astronomers and some space geeks said that the velocity was high. They were observing the Dopplers, and also it crash landed. So it like we don't know what was the fate of the ascender. So, but yeah, it was deorbited. That's what we know. Then this orbiter with the re-entry capsule perform its trans-Earth injection TEI. It was also performed in 2 orbits around the moon. And then yeah, TCM was also performed like 2 to 3 times. The final TCM was done, and right now you can say that the orbiter is separated from the return capsule, and it is this thing has been done, the separation has been done, and the return capsule is on the way towards the earth. Right now we don't know about the fate of the orbiter also, whether it will be used or reused for something else, or will be preserved or not. But some unofficial sources say that they have another secondary mission planned for the orbiter, and that secondary mission is to visit some asteroid, and it has enough fuel so it can like visit some asteroid and do some analysis and scientific instruments, run some scientific instruments on it. We don't know for yet, but yeah, that's what it said. Okay, so hi everyone. Hi Manat Singh, hi Kevur Parmar, hi Bharat, and guys, just I want everyone to know that please maintain some decorum in the chat. I mean, we know that this is a mission which we all love to see, and this is a science mission. Okay, so politics is a different thing, and science in space is a totally different thing. So please have some maintain the chat and have some decorum. Okay, I request you guys. So yeah. So the Space Coast Live said no live stream of landing. The live stream I'm trying to find. If I get it, I'll surely be able to let you know, guys. I mean, I'm really trying to find it, but the sources said that in around 5 to 10 minutes we will be having some sort of live stream. And if you also find something, then please tell me. Okay. Yes, guys, we are like team space here, okay? And that's what we are, right? We all are here in a community, and we all are in one team, you can say, observing the space event, the science events, and everything. So, yeah, we are around T minus 5 minutes from the it to enter the atmosphere. And why is it hard, you can say, if you ask me why is it hard to get some kind of a live stream for this thing, because China does not have anything of an official, and we don't know whether it will be live or not. And it it is like in just a sec everything is live, and yeah, that's what. So in the meanwhile, we whatever I said, we can have a look at that in a video format. That would be great to have. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Okay, so it had a successful liftoff from the Long March 5 rocket, as you can see here. The separation of the booster, the fairing separation, second stage, and the spacecraft separation, obviously. Why not? So here you can see that okay, let it be, I'll tell you in the other. So right now it is performing insertion burn, and yeah, here you can see that both the orbiter solar panels and this lander solar panels are attached in a perpendicular way, right? So why is it, if you ask me why is it so, well, it's a very simple reason. Like we don't want one solar panel to block the sunlight for the other solar panel, right? If the light is coming from this side, then we don't want this to be blocked, because if it was like here, then this solar panel wouldn't get the light, enough light, I should say. Yeah. Then now the solar panel of the lander will be retracted. This has already been done, and they have been successful for this separation of the lander and the sender. Yeah, this was like a cool animation they had. And then this thing, okay, so for the landing they had like here you can see it is like hovering on the surface. Like for 400 meters it hovered for the over the surface, like 100 meter it hovered on the surface, so as to find, or so as to avoid, I would say more specifically, any rocks or any debris kind of a thing is there on the landing site. So it was like hovering on the 100-meter altitude to avoid that, taking the images and that, and then it landed. And at 40 meters or so, it just had the engines cut off, so it just went like it fell onto the surface of the moon. Here, as you can see. Then it performed what we call the drilling and the scooping thingy. The lander solar panels deployed, drilling done, sample transfer, scooping. So you can see it scoops from the surface, then like transferring it to the sample container, securing it, and then lift off of the ascent module from the moon. Wow, the lift off from the moon, like it was like a mini rocket that was sent onto the moon. Then the obviously, then this was like the autonomous docking they had. Okay, autonomous docking onto the surface, like around the moon. It had some bars, and then the clamps were there, and this is the transfer of the samples from the ascent module to the return capsule, storing it properly, and then it was detached to orbit around the moon, and the final burn towards the earth. So now this everything which you just saw, everything has been done successfully. I mean, wow. There were so many complications for this mission, but everything has been done successfully, and now this thing is there. This separation event has also been done. Now only thing is this thing. Okay, so let me explain this thing once. Today you will be having we will be having this skip re-entry maneuver also. So let me just have a look. Oh, okay, okay. So we have now like the capsule has entered the atmosphere, guys. As per the unofficial sources, the capsule has entered the atmosphere, and let's hope it we get something from it now. So this is a skip re-entry maneuver which it will perform. This is why we call it skip, because it like skips the atmosphere, for it dips into the atmosphere and then skips and rise up above the atmosphere, and then again enters the atmosphere. Okay, so why is it done, you ask me? It is done to so as to increase the amount of time the braking force is applied onto the capsule. I mean the time speed at which it will be entering onto into the atmosphere will be around 11.2 kilometers per second, and that's that's like I mean that's really very large and speed. So to avoid any re-entry effects, bad re-entry effects, this maneuver is performed because this thing actually have or actually you can say causes the return capsule to have more time into the atmosphere, which eventually increases the range also. You can see if it wouldn't have performed this maneuver, it would have landed somewhere here. So it has, if it has performed, it has landed here. So yeah, the range is increased and the amount of time is increased on to the atmosphere, so the braking force it experience is distributed in this time period, so the effects are reduced. Apollo capsule has also did that. The plasma buildup, yeah. And successful touchdown. This is supposed to happen in Inner Mongolia at the landing site. So yeah, uh, just a sec, guys. If you find anything, I mean, CCTV 13 is live. Okay. Is it? Let me just see. If it is, I'll have it live for you, and I can go then uh, to my and to see the fireball for you guys. Just a sec. Let's hope it is live. We have something on for the CCTV. I think we have something. Yeah, we have something. Switching over to the CCTV live stream, guys. Yes, guys, switching over to that. Just a sec.
是看不太清楚地面的一些情况的，会影响到我们的一些降落的这样的一个速度。除了我们的空中搜救力量，还有地面的搜救分队，他们分为3个小组，分别到达。
So guys, this is the thing and my Chinese guys, please translate. Try to translate whatever is going on onto the stream here, and I'll be going towards my terrace and try to have the live stream of the fireball.
地面分队也已按计划前往预定待命区域。我们的另一路记者苏州在昨天晚上11点就跟随地面一组车队出发，目前已经抵达预定待命地域。那里的情况怎么样呢？接下来我们就来电话连线他。苏州，带来你那里的最新情况。
好的，主播。那么这次任务呢，一共是有3个地面车队，包括16辆搜索车以及吊装转运的车辆。那么我们是跟随1组，是从昨天晚上的11点出发，目前已经抵达了预定地域。那2组的车辆呢，也跟我们出发的时间是一样的，也是11点。第3组搜救车队由于需要前往更远的预定位置，所以在昨天下午的3点半左右就已经出发。那3组车队一共一起都会在今天的凌晨1点半之前全部到达指定的待命位置。当我们这个随后的工作就是要接收全部的多次的这个落点预报。当我们的测控部门将第6次的落点预报发送给地面搜救分队的时候，我们就会立刻从待命位置出发进行搜索任务。由于此次长征5号回收任务是在12月7号的凌晨展开，所以对搜寻来说有个新的难度。那第一就是天气，12月的内蒙古狮子王骑手路上气温已经低至零下30多度，前几天下的大雪导致路上的积雪厚度平均都在20公分左右。我们在采访的过程中一脚踩下去，基本上雪已经没过了脚脖子。 所以这给车辆的通行带来不小的考验。那么在前期的采访中，我们虽然乘坐的是性能极好的越野车，但是仍然经历了2次陷车。那么第二个难度就是在夜间进行的。我们的内蒙古狮子王旗着陆场由于是茫茫的大草原，晚上不会像我们的城市有这个路灯或者高楼的灯光，很难辨认方向。那针对这些情况呢，我们的地面分队也是做了大量的工作，比如在加大人员适应性训练的同时，还把重要的设备包括一些易损的器件进行了一些补充和备份。我们的车辆也全部更换了雪地轮胎，同时升级改造了机载、车载锅炉、底盘加温等多个系统，有效提升了这个低温条件下搜索装备的可靠性。那今天凌晨我们从出发到目前为止呢，还是比较顺利的，整个车队都是按照预定的路线行进，没有出现其他的情况。那么我们现在仍然在征途中，目前的情况就是这样，期待一会儿给观众带来好消息。主播。
感谢苏州给我们带来的报道。那关于嫦娥5号月球采样返回任务的最新情况，新闻频道也会持续关注。再来看国内方面的其他消息，国家发展改革委、商务部联合修订的市场准入负面清单2020年版16号对外公布。清单的修订出台，有利于进一步放宽准入限制，实现平等准入，推动有效市场与有为政府更好结合，加快形成高效规范、公平竞争的国内统一市场。
据介绍，市场准入负面清单2020年版共列入事项123项，相比清单2019年版减少了8项。在放开删减事项措施方面，放开森林资源资产评估项目核准、矿业权评估机构资质认定、碳排放权交易核查机构资格认定等3条措施，删除进出口商品检验鉴定业务的检验许可、报关企业注册登记许可、资产评估机构从事证券服务业务资格审批、证券公司董事、监事、高级管理人员任职资格核准等14条管理措施。与此同时，清单审慎增列少数事项措施。根据国务院关于实施金融控股公司准入管理的决定，将金融控股公司设立相关管理措施增列入清单。
News has finished or what? Okay. Now it's the other news. Guys, if you have something, do tell me where I can find one. I'm also trying to do that. So please do tell me. Just I'm trying to do something. It's okay. Let me just have something for you. Wait a sec. Okay, guys, I actually I mean, see, I'll have the CCTV on, but I don't think so. We are having something there, but yeah, this actual live stream is not happening there. Maybe what you can do is enjoy this thing till I get the stream there. Yeah, I'm trying to do something. Where is it? It's becoming really hard for me to find everything, guys. Just be corporate. Thanks ET for $2 super chat. Thank you so much. It helps the channel so much. Where is it? Okay, so I made this Kerbal simulation of this, and if you know that this is a Kerbal simulation, so you must be knowing this thing. This there will be some blunders here, so pardon me for that. You just enjoy this thing, and I'll see if I can get some look at the fireball or what. Okay, so please pardon me for anything, guys. I mean, I don't know whether I should be going or just a sec, guys. Getting a stream is becoming a really hard for me right now. Guys, please pardon me, and I'll be back in some time.
常的会时断时续。所以说呢，我们刚才看到这个车辆通过这个特殊的改装，首先是增强这个通信设备，来保障在这个低温在夜间的行动当中能够有这个通信能够非常的顺畅。我们看到，我们这一条路其实我们刚刚已经看完了所有的，就是我们出发的这个地面分队的第1分队。在更后面的位置，我们的这个摄像老师可以给一个画面，在更后面的位置就是我们地面分队的第2分队。第2分队的配置呢，其实和第1分队大体是一致的，但是他们的分工呢是有一些不同。它的不同在哪儿呢？不同在于2支分队将去往不同的位置。为什么去往不同的位置呢？因为这个返回舱它的降落的地点呢是在一个大的这个区域范围之内，要保障我们的这个地面回收分队能够第一时间抵达返回舱降落的地点。所以我们的这个3个分队会分布在3个不同的区域。同时，除了3个专业的搜索分队之外，我们在核心区之外还分布了大概有10多支的专业的应急搜救队伍。这些队伍是为了防范，比如说我们的这个返回器它的这个降落地点呢离我们的3个专业的回收队比较远的时候，这个时候我们的应急回收分队就能够发挥作用，他们会第一时间赶往这个返回器的这个着陆点，来进行第一时间现场进行一个及时的处置。我们可以看到第2分队啊，除了这个4辆这个猛士的这个实行车之外，有一个大家伙，它和前面的这个车辆不太一样。这个呢也是这次任务的一个备份车辆。为什么说它是备份车辆呢？因为按照我们这个预定的计划，这个长5号着陆器着陆的地方，它的这个地势和地形是相对平坦的。但是呢，我们这辆备份车辆是用来做什么呢？是应对，比如说它要是降落器着陆在返回器着陆在地形比较复杂的区域的时候，这个履带车就可以进去完成这个第一时间的这个吊装和回收的任务。好了，按照预定的计划，我们的地面1分队和地面2分队马上就要出发了。我们今天也将跟随这个出发的回收分队一起去执行回收任务。我们也将继续关注本次任务的行进。
我现在所在的位置呢，就是内蒙古狮子王旗着陆场区的临时停机点。在我身后就是6架搜索直升机，他们现在已经集结待命，正在准备起飞前的一些机务准备工作。那么现在的气温呢是零下达到了26度左右，所以对于飞机来说，它要保持一个起飞前的一个温度，这样的话可以在接到落点的时候，它可以第一时间的起飞，飞赴指定的空域。那么这6架直升机呢，是今天早上9点多钟的时候飞抵这个临时停机点。飞抵到这里之后呢，它已经做了一系列的机务准备，包括对通信设备还有搜索设备进行了联调联试。那么针对夜间搜索呢，我们的有一些直升机进行了一些设备的加改装，比如我们的指挥机加装了光电吊舱，这样可以在夜间对我们的返回舱进行稳定的跟踪，通过我们的通信机将信号实时的回传到北京飞控中心，供我们的指挥员做出一些决策。那么还有其他的一些直升机，因为是夜间的搜索，所以我们加装了一些大功率的这种探照灯，这样既方便我们飞行员掌握这个飞行地域的一些环境和情况，也可以方便我们的搜索队员发现目标。在夜间的这样的低空飞行，对于我们飞行员的技术，包括我们的飞机，也是一个考验。在此之前呢，一个多月的时间，他们已经对2万平方公里的这样的一个区域进行了数十次的一个演练，包括对整个落区的环境进行了一些勘察。 建立了一些航向和航线。应该说，我们具备了一定的经验，对这个航线有了一定的熟悉。在这种夜间低空飞行，对于我们飞机它的降落也是有一定的考验。现在呢，我们着陆场区的平均积雪的厚度达到了13厘米，最深的有30厘米。所以在飞机旋翼的作用下呢，我们的降落区域，我们的飞行员是看不太清楚地面的一些情况的，会影响到我们的一些降落的这样的一个速度。除了我们的空中搜救力量，还有地面的搜救分队，他们分为3个小组，分别到达了指定的待机的地域。一会儿呢，我们的飞机将会根据北京飞空中心的落点预报，我们的直升机就要起飞，我们也将会跟随我们的直升机第一时间发回报道。
uh, so guys, I am back, and I literally tried for so much time, and now nothing was visible. I literally went there, stand onto my terrace, was looking up onto to the skies, but no, the footage was not visible. And yeah, yeah, so then I came back, and yeah, it was like that only. But I did my best, guys, to have that for you, but it was not visible in the end. So how can I also have that for you? Okay, so it has not landed yet. Yes, it has not landed yet. We are just waiting for its confirmation, like yes. Okay, so let me just tell you what has happened till now. And guys, really, you can say pardon me for the thing which I was like, uh, I actually went there, and it was like literally so cold in here. I went there outside to see if it is there, but no, it wasn't. So yeah, right now they are just searching. I think so. They are searching if any. It has landed safely. John Ma says it has landed safely. Let me just have that confirmation here. They are searching for it, right? Just a sec, let me just have that confirmation. And guys, if you want to support the channel, you can always become a Patreon, or if you want to give a one-time funding, super chat is always enabled. I try to do these kind of live streams and like search many live streams whenever it is there, and give you a perfect scenario of what is happening, what is there. So yeah, let me just see if we have that thing already landed. Okay, thanks for the confirmation. That means the landing is successful, and we are just waiting for the confirmation for the searching. Then that is so cool. I mean, their mission is now right now fully accomplished now. mm, just a sec, if I can get something for you. Okay, so we have something now. I think we'll have the confirmation on thing, but right now, is it like the official sources hasn't confirmed yet it has landed or not? So let's see what it is all about now. Okay. So yes, this is the replay of everything. So we have the official coverage beginning now, the replay of what happened actually. So you can see here we have the liftoff of the Long March 5 rocket, and it was, I live streamed it, and it was so cool. I mean, I can literally just reimagine this thing and relive this moment of Chang'e 5 liftoff. the fairing separation obviously, and everything. I mean, it was so cool. I can just tell you that thing only. If it has landed successfully, because official sources hasn't confirmed yet, I am also trying to search for something. Let me just have that thing here. So this is the craft which you can see. Okay.
给他们打120分或者150分。
I'm trying to have the English subtitles, guys, so just pardon me for that. Trying to get that, but I don't think so I'll be able to get it. This is the landing footage, which is when it landed onto the surface, and yeah, this is the thing when it landed. It was so cool. I live streamed that. Literally outperformed everything. I myself was like,
钻彩
they
奠定了
won't.
非常重要的
Okay.
一个基础。
Okay, this is the scooping which they did on the surface. Literally, they scratched the surface to collect the moon soil, and then this is, you can see here, it is transferring towards the sample container. And yes, that's what it is going right now. And then we had a successful liftoff from the moon, and this was the orbiter, sorry, the lander cam, which witnessed this thing. And if you slowed that down, it was firstly pushed away a bit, and then the engine ignited. And yeah.
入轨后8分钟，太阳帆板展开，整个的过程都非常的顺利。
这次月面起飞应该说非常圆满，按时起飞，准确进入预定轨道，为下一步的工作奠定好了基础。
Okay. So this was the thing which is like when it this docking. See, it is like having a successful, you can say, hug of the ascender completing its mission. So orbiter was like hugging it. It was so cool. Chang'e 5, it has not found anything on the moon yet, because this mission was to collect the moon samples and have it back towards the Earth. So this is the transfer of the samples towards the orbiter, which you are right now seeing. So this is the transfer, and then the securing part. I mean, this was all so cool. Wow. Okay. So, and this was like the separation of the ascender. This is the orbiter cam. Man, this was also very cool. I mean, I can't. Wow. See? And then now finally, okay.
月探广寒，嫦娥携宝返神州。这里是
And
中国探月
guys,
工程嫦娥5号
I'm
月
trying
球
to
采
have
样
the
返回任务特别
those
报道嫦娥揽月。刚才我们通过一个短片回顾了一下这23天往返超过76万公里的月球采样路上，嫦娥5号经历了一些关键节点。那么此刻呢，嫦娥5号返回器正携带着月球样本行走在回家路上。今天我们演播室也邀请到了2位嘉宾，跟大家做一个介绍。坐在我身旁的是航天科技集团5院508所航天器回收着陆专业总工程师黄伟，欢迎黄总。另外一位是国家航天局探月与航天工程中心主管刘然，欢迎2位。好，稍后我们也会一起关注嫦娥5号的这一段非常关键的回家之路。那嫦娥5号呢，正在返回地球，此刻在内蒙古四子王旗着陆场，搜索回收队伍已经是展开了搜索任务。那此次嫦娥5号返回器的搜索回收任务有空中分队，还有地面分队。总台央视记者苏州此刻正跟随一个地面小飞队在进行搜索，我们马上来连线他。苏州你好，有哪些最新的消息带给我们？
好的，主播。那么这次任务呢，一共是有3个地面分队，包括16辆搜索车以及 吊装转运车辆。那么我们是跟随地面1组从昨天晚上的11点出发，目前已经抵达预定集结地域。那么2组车队呢，也跟我们出发的时间一样，在11点出发。第3组车队由于需要到更远的地方进行集结，所以他们在昨天下午的3点半左右就已经开始出发。那么他们即将会有多次的落点预报。当我们的测控部门给他们进行6次测控落点预报的时候，由于天气很冷哈，所以我们会在6次落点预报的时候，我们就会在待命位置出发进行搜索。那么此次嫦娥5号回收任务啊，是在12月17日的凌晨展开，所以这次难度有新的挑战。第一就是天气，12月的内蒙古狮子王旗着陆场气温非常低，我们在现场有零下30多摄氏度。前几天下的大雪导致路面上的积雪非常非常厚，基本那么在前期的采访过程中呢，我们虽然是使用着性能极好的越野车，但是仍然经历了2次陷车。那么第2个难度就是在夜间进行，由于狮子王旗着陆场区是茫茫的大草原，所以晚上不会像我们的城市有灯光，一望无际，很难辨别方向。那针对这些情况呢，我们的地面分队也是做了大量的准备，比如说在加大人员适应性训练的同时，还把重要的设备和易损部件进行了补充和备份。那么我们的车辆也全部更换了雪地轮胎，同时升级改造了机载、车载锅炉、底盘加温等多个系统，有效提升了低温条件下搜索设备的可能性。那么今天凌晨出发，我们到现在为止呢，一切还是比较顺利的，整个车辆都是按照预定地域进行，没有出现其他情况发生。好，我们现在
已经进行1组的地面车辆已经开始了进行这个
看到都
车辆行进，他们应该是已经达到了这个落点位置，并且进行出发。那么我们可以看到，一共是有数十台车辆正在出发。好了，那我们现在可以看到，当他们可能大概会在1个半小时到2个小时的时间抵达这个嫦娥5号的落点位置。我这里的情况就是这样，我现在要跟随车辆一起出发，来期待我们接下来的表现。主播。
好的，非常感谢苏州带给我们的介绍哈。我们看到在茫茫草原，而且是极寒条件，给搜索工作带来很多的困难，包括我们的信号传输也存在一些的卡顿。那除了地面搜索回收分队呢，空中力量也是不可或缺的。大约就在几十分钟之前呢，空中搜索回收分队已经是起飞了，目前已经到达了待命区域，准备迎接嫦娥5号返回器的回家。我们现在看到的画面就是直升机起飞时候的画面。我们的另外一路记者王刚也搭乘着一架搜索回收直升机，一起在前往着陆点。接下来我们来看一下王刚大约1个多小时以前跟随直升机出发前发回的报道。
我现在所在的位置呢，就是内蒙古狮子王旗着陆场区的临时停机点。在我身后就是6架搜索直升机，他们现在已经集结待命，正在准备起飞前的一些机务准备工作。那么现在的气温呢是零下达到了26度左右，所以对于飞机来说，它要保持一个起飞前的一个温度，这样的话可以在接到落点的时候，它可以第一时间的起飞，飞赴指定的空域。那么这6架直升机呢，是今天早上9点多钟的时候飞抵这个临时停机点。飞抵到这里之后呢，它已经做了一系列的机务准备，包括对通信设备还有搜索设备进行了联调联试。那么针对夜间搜索呢，我们的有一些直升机进行了一些设备的加改装，比如我们的指挥机加装了光电吊舱，这样可以在夜间对我们的返回舱进行稳定的跟踪，通过我们的通信机将信号实时的回传到北京飞控中心，供我们的指挥员做出一些决策。那么还有其他的一些直升机，因为是夜间的搜索，所以我们加装了一些大功率的这种探照灯，这样既方便我们飞行员掌握这个飞行地域的一些环境和情况，也可以方便我们的搜索队员发现目标。 在夜间的这样的低空飞行，对于我们飞行员的技术，包括我们的飞机也是一个考验。在此之前呢，一个多月的时间，他们已经对2万平方公里的这样的一个区域进行了数十次的一个演练，包括对整个落区的环境进行了一些勘察，建立了一些航向和航线。应该说，我们具备了一定的经验，对这个航线有了一定的熟悉。在这种夜间低空飞行，对于我们飞机它的降落也是有一定的考验。现在呢，我们着陆场区的平均积雪的厚度达到了13厘米，最深的有30厘米。所以在飞机旋翼的作用下呢，我们的降落区域，我们的飞行员是看不太清楚地面的一些情况的，会影响到我们的一些降落的这样的一个速度。除了我们的空中搜救力量，还有地面的搜救分队，他们分为3个小组，分别到达了指定的待机的地域。一会儿呢，我们的飞机将会根据北京飞控中心的落点预报，我们的直升机就要起飞，我们也将会跟随我们的直升机第一时间发回报道。
好，演播室里我们也和2位航天专家一起来关注嫦娥5号最后的这段非常关键的回家之路。我们刚刚通过记者的连线我们总台央视记者苏州，他所在的这个3支小分队当中的第1个地面小分队是已经出发了。那说明现在的整个的进展还是比较顺利。那这次的夜间搜索可以说我们刚刚从连线当中也看到，极寒条件又是大雪，有很多的困难尤其是和白天相比，是吧，黄总？
是因为夜间这个可视度比较差，就相当于人员的靠目视找寻目标是比较困难的。虽然可以借助一些手段，包括信标的手段，包括光学吊舱的这些设备的手段。但是毕竟各种操作还是得靠人去执行，而且本次就嫦娥5号它本来目标也比像以前的神舟飞船要小包括神舟飞船夜间的话，它有闪光标位是可以辅助用来这个进行目视的寻找的。那嫦娥5号它是返回舱比较小，它也没有这个闪光标位，所以主要还是靠地面搜索部队来找到目标。确实是比以往的任务难度都要大。
所以我们地面搜索分队，你看也分为这个空中分队和地面分队，是吧？您刚刚还提到这个光学吊舱，我记得刚刚王刚在这个介绍当中也说到，我们的好像是空中分队会配备直升机上的光学吊舱这是一个什么搜索利器刘总给我们介绍一下。
它也是直升机上配备的一个搜索，就您刚才讲到是一个搜索利器。因为它这个在夜间进行搜索，它这光学吊舱配备了这个红外搜索条件，因为专门是给的夜间发现我们返回器的轨迹，包括落点，这是一方面。然后刚才那个说的地面分队还配备了很多最新的这种光学跟踪设备，然后加上我们也有这次的还有一个相当于一个地面的这种卫通的临时会把现场的一些图片和声音及时的传回来，也是这次更新的一些先进设备。
你看刘总，你看这次嫦娥5号的整个发射任务，你看是11月24号的凌晨4点半点火。那这次的回收，现在看来可能也是在凌晨的时候。
对，
有这个网友就在问，为什么我们每次关注嫦娥5号的一些关键节点好像都是在夜里？是不是为了它在这个月球上工作的时候有一个更好的时间和环境呢？
您提到的刚才也是一方面，为什么就是我们很多这次的关键动作都是在夜间呢？是因为这个月球的这个摄入条件，包括窗口的设计、轨道的设计，还有我们一些地面的测控条件，来综合考虑的得到的结果，就是大的关键动作这几次都是安排在夜间。
相当于夜间的话，就比如与咱们中国这个国土面积对着月面，正好就是夜间的这个时候，所以一些这个月球上的一些操作都在夜间的，
都是在夜间
对。
那现在这个夜间我们很多人的目光都在聚焦在这个内蒙古的狮子王旗着陆场两位能不能再给我们介绍一下这个着陆场为什么要选择在这里？它有哪些优势
狮子王旗着陆场它是神舟飞船的主着陆场，
对，
所以它呢本身条件还是作为落区的话条件是比较好的。一个是它的这个面积比较大，然后地形很平坦，地质条件也比较好，是大草原，然后各种越野车辆行走起来也是比较方便的。另外本身着陆场配套的 相应的测控条件、搜索条件比较完善，所以选择这个狮子王旗着陆场。
那这次这个整个的这个我们刚刚看到地面小分队已经是从内蒙古狮子王旗着陆场的一个预定区域再出发，它是根据什么指令要去出发要去做准备的？刘总，
它是这样，就是我们载入返回过程呢，就是对落点要进行6次的精确预报。第1次大概是在轨返分离前，然后第2次是在第1次载入，第3次是在第2次载入，第4次是在出黑障，然后第5次、第6次分别是在开伞和落地以后。
这个预报是由谁发出的呢？
这个预报是由整个我们有一个地面的叫载入返回通道的一个测控链，由各个测站来进行连续跟踪给出的一个精确预报，由北京中心发出口令，然后其他的测站跟确认。如果您刚才说的就是地面的分队已经行动了，那证明前几次预报，匹配性很准，就可以出发了。
而且这个预报是不是越到后面，您刚刚说一共是有6次是吧？
对。
越到后面它这个精准度会越来越高。
对。
对，
是这样
我们还要关注一个非常关键的就是气象条件，因为刚刚我们记者连线的时候也发现，当地可能说这个风很大风力很大。对。这样的一个气象条件会不会对搜救也带来一些困难？王总。
确实，如果风很大的话，确实会带来一些困难。一方面，本身降落伞开伞以后，如果风越大，它会容易飘得更远嘛。虽然我们在这个整个就是返回弹道过程中，我们会进行一定的风的修正，就是利用早期就是实时预报的一些这个风场来这个计算弹道，然后把这个落点的散布就是修正到飞行程序里面去。这样的话能够提高这个落点的精度。但是呢，毕竟这个降落伞在开伞以后还是受风的影响。另外就是如果返回器落到地面上以后，如果风还是很大的话，这个伞也可能会被这风刮着跑，会带着这个返回器在这个草原上奔跑了、拖曳了。这样的话，这个地面人员去找到这个返回器去操作返回器也会带来一些困难。
所以我们也期待着我们的搜索人员能够克服这些重重困难争取能够顺利很快的找到返回器。那此前呢，我们的记者也是探访了在酒泉卫星发射中心着陆场的气象分队，我们来看一下那里是怎样进行气象保障的。
着陆场区地势广阔，草原气候变化莫测。如果返回器着陆当天遭遇降雪天气，空中搜索分队直升机很可能无法起飞实施搜索救援。为了给上级指挥决策提供精准的气象数据支持，气象分队结合近30年的历史资料，重点对西伯利亚寒流影响、降水量等重要指标进行监测。
先把这个热水或者温水倒到这个量杯里面，量出它的一定定量，然后把这个雪化成这个液态，然后再测出它的总的这个降水量，然后把差值算出来，就是今天的降水量。
除了降雪天气带来的影响外，能否准确预测高空风向和风速，直接关系到搜索回收分队能否顺利找到目标。如果风速过大，返回舱极有可能飘出指定着陆区域，增加搜寻难度。
考虑到风对降落伞的影响的时候，它最大的偏差可能会达到20-30公里，因此呢，我们就需要对这个返回器开伞时刻的整程的风做一个精准的预报，然后指挥所会根据这个风的预报呢，对这个落点再做出一个修正。
为了保障好此次任务，气象分队进驻着陆区已有3个月，每天24小时不间断观测地面至高空25千米的温度、湿度、压力、风向、风速等气象数据。每日0点释放高空探测气球，返回机着陆当天，高空探测气球释放个数增加至8个左右。
气球上升到25000米，大概得1个多小时，所以咱们得等着看数据，实时监测这个数据好坏。如果数据要出现错误的话，太多的话，我们要补球，重新放球。如果数据正常的话，我们会最后做个数据处理，然后给气象室发过去。
我们刚刚看到片子当中有一些介绍，刘总能不能再给我们介绍一下，对于这种降落还有它的搜索，我们在气象保障、天气保障这方面要加强哪些工作？
其实这样就是每天我们气象部门都会进行一个中短期的一个预报， 包括我们的各个测站，然后包括我们的回收着陆场，
每天都会进行，
每天都要进行一个预报，就是包括近几日的，然后未来的一个中长期的一个预报，这样可以评估我们测站的，包括因为每天都要用，执行任务的能力进行一个评估，每天都会给一个结论，这样。
对，除了这个天气的保障情况，我们其实看到刚刚记者连线的时候，你看除了有大风，当地还有这个降雪，而且有一些积雪。啊，我们可以导播给我们放一下之前我们拍摄到的，就是在大雪，这个情况当中呢，我们搜索的车队在行进的时候的这样的一个画面，我们一会儿可以一起来看一下。这种大雪，哎，现在我们在双视窗当中已经看到，就是白天可能是车辆在到达前进这个预定区域的时候哈。这种大雪会不会也对返回器的着陆啊带来一些影响呢？啊，二位。
如果你看，如果是它都是返回器落在雪面上，然后又有风，
对，
然后降落伞被风刮着，拖曳这个返回器的话，本身这个雪地嘛，摩擦力也小，那肯定会跑得会更快一些，会带来这些影响。
刘总。
还有就是它下这么大雪的话，因为头一次全区演练我也参加了，因为当地现在那个地面环境已经有所变化，因为很多牧区啊拉了很多铁丝。
This is like going on. I don't know what is happening. This stream is was supposed to be something else, and now it is looking like something else. But okay, thank you so much, Chris Go, for $8 super chat. Chang'e 5 just landed on Earth successfully. Yes, that's the thing right now, and we are right now listening to its coverage, and hopefully we will also be having English coverage. Then I'll switch over to that, but then till that time we have to listen to that, so let's just listen to that only.
就是承担我们这次搜索回收任务的是那个酒泉卫星发射中心的搜索。
好，我们来看一个我们刚刚收到的一个最新消息，在今天凌晨的2点，嫦娥5号返回器是携带月球样品着陆地球，这是一个非常值得我们欣喜的好消息哈！在今天凌晨的2点，嫦娥5号返回器携带月球样品是着陆地球了。刚刚我们也提到了，整个的你看极寒、大雪、夜间对回收任务的一些影响。但我们刚刚已经得到最新消息，是嫦娥5号返回器已经着陆地球。那接下来我们要展开哪些工作？刘总，
我们现场人员如果到了那个落点。找到了返回器以后，要进行一些处置，包括有一个砍伞，然后就是刚才黄总提到的，就是防止它拖曳进行一些误操作。
砍伞就是把这个伞从
就是把伞给解除掉，
是吧？
对，专门有一个砍伞员。
当然我们是希望是尽量能够不砍伞，我们首先还是先判断一下，就先判断一下这个舱是不是能够比较好的姿态，不容易被刮的运动很快哈。然后如果是具备条件的话，还是给它正常的拆卸下来。
这个砍不砍伞有什么区别吗？
主要还是看这个舱会不会被拖拽的跑。如果拖拽的跑的话，还是第一时间把它给解除掉。当然我们返回器处理，首先当然还是先要就人员先到附近，先要检查一下这个有害气体，先确保这个处置人员的安全。
刘总有什么补充？
还要对它的外观进行一个初步的判断，包括结构啊、有损伤的地方呀，还有哪些遗落的东西，大概有一个初步判断和处置。这样。
看来我们还是有很多的预案，包括之前的演练也是非常充分的哈。那除了这种有力的气象保障啊，为了安全迎接返回器的平安回家呢，着陆场系统在今天也是正式开展任务前，已经完成了多次的综合演练。我们的记者也是跟随搜索回收分队参与了最后一次演练，我们再一起来看一看当时演练的情况。
这是嫦娥5号任务着陆场系统开展的最后一次全系统综合演练。根据任务安排，空中地面分队分别从待命点向返回器落点搜索前进。
已目视发现返回器，返回器呈直立状态。
Thanks GQ for that $5. I mean, it really helps the channel. You can see I am really trying to do something. The thing which you are right now seeing is the drill. It's not the actual one. Actually, the thing is with this mission, they practiced this finding the capsule and landing the capsule first of all in 2014 with the Chang'e 5 T1 mission, in which they just used the tested the skip re-entry, and then they like tested the skip re-entry, and yeah, then they successfully recovered it. So they practiced it back in 2014. So it was like a tested one, but then this happened. So for today, actually the thing is, the capsule which they are recovering is a smaller one, but has a larger search area. That's what they have. I mean, they haven't experienced that thing for this Chang'e 5 recovery capsule, because they all have recovered the human spaceflight capsule also, but that was a very big capsule, right? And they have recovered that, but they haven't recovered a small capsule which is spread over to a large area. So yeah, it has landed successfully, and right now we are just waiting for any confirmation if we have of the landing footage. I mean, if we have any fireball or something like that, or maybe the actual footage of them having the samples and taking away the samples. So that's the thing. Okay, so yeah, so if you have any question, you can truly ask me. I think these guys are just waiting. Hi Alex, it landed successfully, and did they borrow NASA's cameras? No. 2 a.m. China time. Okay, 12 minutes ago. Then that's so cool if it actually happened at that time. I don't know what the hell, why this thing is having such a problem. It is not working. The translation. Oh yeah, it's now working. So good now. Okay. So yeah, so for by this mission, guys, thanks. I don't know. Whosoever, like I literally, I'm so tired right now. I've done like so many things for this stream, and nothing went on my way. Like I planned to have the fireball shot up and to do a live stream of it, but it was not visible over my location. I'd contacted many you can say space geeks and astronomers, you can say, kind of a thing, to have all the trajectory planned, and got that thing. But finally, because the thing is, China hasn't released anything yet, so they don't release only, so anything was not official. Everything which we got was the assumptions only. So yeah, that's why it went wrong. But it actually tried so much. So right now it has landed, and they are waiting for the recovery operation to be done successfully. And how will they do the recovery? CCTV English is they live? Are they live? Okay, if they are, so I'll switch over to that. Garib scientist, what Manat Singh? Just wait a sec. I get something, I'll have that.
介绍一下，就是他们看到这个返回器以后整个的地面，尤其是这个地面分队，首先要做哪些简单的处置工作？
首先还是先得专业的人员到返回器旁边。 先进行一个有害气体的检测。
CGTN is reporting just a sec. That's what I was trying to see. Are they live?
要确保这个
I'm not seeing them live.
检查没有问题以后，我们要对这个返回器进行一个就是
Can you give me the link?
判断一下，就是这个降落伞的
just a sec. Let me just see if I have something for CGTN is it is there.
这样的处理完以后，先把返回器要进行一个扶正的操作。
因为
它有可能不一定是正立的落在地面上，要把它先扶正过来，然后对这个结构进行一个检查，然后就是为这个起吊做准备，因为这个天很冷，所以也专门准备了这个保暖的新衣，要给这个返回器还得穿上一件这个棉服。
哦，这个保暖的新衣是什么材料？ 我们还挺好奇。
应该也就是类似于羽绒服的那
Thanks Lang Y for $3. I am right now going in for that. They live.
专门给它进行一个保温，是吧？
We have live. Oh yes, we do have a live
些准备呢？
But I don't know why on YouTube we don't have right any live broadcast for them, but there we have. So I'll switch over to that. Okay, no problem with
然后
that.
就是怕这个极寒的暗夜，这种冰冻条件下结冰，影响这个咱们空中和地面的设备。
Okay, here we go. Let me just switch over. Just a sec, guys. Making some changes here. Okay, done, and here we go. This is here, and yep, can have this off now. Okay, finally a good one. Laga liya CGTN, don't worry. Okay, so right now they are doing the same intro which the CCTV did, and you can see right now the sample container being transferring the samples onto the orbiter, and now they are like the ascender has detached. Landed at 2 a.m. Beijing time. Yes, guys, it landed at 2 a.m. Beijing time. Okay.
Let me bring in our guest, Bernard Foyin, Executive Director of the International Lunar Exploration Working Group. Mr. Foyin, welcome to CGTN.
Hello, so yes, we are rejoicing. A good day from the Moon Explorers Group.
You know, throughout that process, we've had many messages of goodwill, congratulations from the international space community. As you watch this final stretch of this journey with us here today, what are your thoughts? How difficult do you think the Chang'e 5 mission has been?
So my first choice is congratulations to the Chang'e 5 team, to China from Europe and from the world, because it's really a great technical stuff, a series of challenges.
Mr. Foyin, 1 second please, because we're getting some footage of ground vehicles. It looks like ground vehicles searching and trying to retrieve the return capsule here.
Yes, so
you're looking
now
at
the challenge to find the samples, but already just to reach the moon and to have been able to go and capture these samples, to do a rendezvous in an orbit, and to re-inject this sample capsules with the ultimate precision in order for you to recover it in Inner Mongolia in China. It's a great achievement, a series of technical challenges that the Chang'e 5 team has solved. And now we are looking also the recovery of the samples, but also the other challenges will be what knowledge we can extract from these very special samples,
sorry for that
from
noise.
the science of the moon, the history of the Moon-Earth system.
We are waiting, as you can see.
You may not be getting this, but as you were talking to us, we just got footage of the ground team there trying to search and retrieve the return capsule that has landed in northern China's Inner Mongolia. We're showing this footage. We're sharing this footage with our viewers as we speak at this moment. We will keep everyone updated on the latest process there. I want to also talk to you, Mr. Foyin, about the lunar samples that have been actually brought back to Earth. It's just a matter of time before we find and locate them. They were brought from the moon's Oceanus Procellarum, or ocean of storms. What is unique about that particular region, and what do you expect the samples will tell us this time?
Yes, it's great to be part of this history in the making. That's a historical milestone where you have retrieved samples from an area of the moon which we have never explored. And it's very special in the sense it's one of the youngest areas on the moon. It's an area, we call it Oceanus Procellarum. It's come from a flood of lava basalt, which have cooled, and these were in place quite recently in the moon history. Something between
the search team is on the
1.3
way
and
for
1.9 billion
rescuing the return capsule and recovering it. They are right now searching. It's night time there, so it will be like very difficult to search it. Hopefully they have some antenna or some like beacon antenna or something like that, which Hayabusa 2 capsule had. Okay, so we have some visual, guys. Here we have the return capsule visuals. I think so. These are those visuals only.
Some volcanic activity quite long in this area.
Spotted, yes, it has been spotted, and now I mean I can't believe myself. Wow, this thing actually is coming from all the way from the moon, and China has done this.
It looks like we are showing visuals of the return capsule there. I want to turn to the expertise of my guests here in the studio while we look at those visuals that show a white object in the center of the screen. Gentlemen, is that the return capsule we're all looking for?
Well, this is a really exciting moment. You see, it seems that this video comes from the helicopter, from the mounted on the helicopter. We can see that because the re-entry capsule is very hot, so it's very bright in this video.
Is that being lighted? Is that being lighted so the helicopters can better catch it?
I think it's more of an infrared image.
Infrared image.
When the capsule returns, it has a high temperature and reflected white, and the surrounding areas is more or less black. But with the amplified light of the infrared image, either this is from a UAV or from helicopter, but it's certainly an aerial image.
It doesn't look that far away. I mean, we understand this could be an aerial image, so we can't really assess the distance here, but it doesn't look like that far away. And once we have this visual, once we have this image, does it mean it's within reach now? Because we know where it is now, basically.
Now we can confirm that the re-entry capsule has touched the ground properly and do not have, at least from this, the shape of the it do not have any damage. So we can confirm that the sample in it is well kept. So I believe that what you mentioned, the problem is come from the camera, maybe have a very long focal length. So
we have the return capsule, guys. China has done this, and they have totally and finally found out their recovery capsule also, and we have some important
the capsule to make sure
rocks and lunar samples in it. So this will change the humanity now, because well, it has been like 40 years since we have any lunar samples. So I'll talk more about it. So let's just have a look and listen to what the news coverage is.
The parachutes and descending at the right speed, and then if they complete the checking of the exterior, they will start to open the capsule. But that would take certainly some time, and the capsule would not be opened on site. The first thing to do is to transport the capsule back to a proper location where the experts and the scientists will start opening that capsule with the contaminations controlled environment.
Well, before Mr. Xu mentioned the procedure, there is also a very important procedure to dealing with the propellant. You see that although this is a very small capsule of about 300 kilograms, but also it have a propulsion system. The propulsion system is used to change its attitude during the re-entry, and with the change of the direction of the lift, it can change its trajectory and to have a more precise landing point. So it do have some propellants, and the propellant is hydrogen. Hydrogen is highly toxic, so we must dealing with these kind of propellants before the following procedures, as Mr. Xu mentioned.
Yes, that's basically what we do when we launch a vehicle to outer space. We also do the same thing for the final stage, which is called the passivation. So we have to make sure that there's no explosive, no toxic materials to contaminate and cause danger to the crew.
So from this video, we can see that the re-entry capsule is in a very good attitude. So we can predict that the previous procedure goes very well, and the parachute working very well.
The parachute.
I believe that the video of the parachute deployment has already been properly recorded, but maybe not.
We'll see if we can get that video later,
exactly.
and we'll explain to our viewers what
so cool
happened, before this this image we're showing you right now. And if you're just joining us here on CGTN, you're looking at the visuals of that return capsule of the Chang'e 5 mission, which has now landed in northern China's Inner Mongolia region. It will be a matter of time before personnel there on the ground find and retrieve that capsule. We do understand a helicopter squad is also edging closer to that capsule as we speak, now that we know basically where it is and we can see it.
We can almost confirm that this video is come from the helicopter because you see that finally the vehicle will be retrieved by the ground team, and the helicopter, because it's moved much faster, so it can get to the landing site at the first moment, and the helicopter get the videos, and also the helicopter have another important function to report its coordinate to the commander, and the commander can give commands, give guidance of the ground team. I believe it's nearer, so the ground team can get to the right places.
You can see that chopper, right?
Yes.
Right there, that's moving to the bottom of the screen. That is the chopper.
So there are multiple helicopters. This is one of them.
We believe there are 6 of them on that squad, helping the ground team locate and retrieve that return capsule. And earlier we showed you visuals from, we believe, one of the vehicles on the ground there as it speeds off to find it. The helicopters will be helping the ground team to get to where the module is, the landing site, the exact landing spot of that return module. Do we have an estimate of how long this process could take? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour?
It depends, because you see that our helicopter team have already arrived at the landing site, but still we don't know how far is the ground team. So it also depends on the distance from the landing site, from the ground team to this landing site.
And in fact, you can see from this image that the capsule is a bit sinked into the ground. In fact, what you see, the black area is not ground, it's snow. And that the temperature of the capsule has melted some of the snow and it was sinked into the snow. So it was an infrared image that you don't see the colors. You see black and white images. That's also what you see from the helicopter. It's also a white reflection of the heat.
Nominally speaking, the speed when the main parachute is deployed, the touching down speed of the vehicle to the ground is about 13 meters per second. This is a little bit bigger than the manned spacecraft, because you see, for crew inside, we should have a much smaller speed. So we have a retro solid rocket to slow down the vehicle furtherly. So this time, because there is no person inside, so the 30 meters per second is acceptable for the samples. So the samples will be well protected, do not have any problem with this touching down speed.
Yes, because of the human capability of tolerance is maximum 12 G that you can tolerate. More than that, you risk a damage of the human body or even death. But in this case, there's no human in the capsule, so the sample should stand for that many G's of gravity or
that
acceleration.
tiny little spot there, that's getting closer to the module. Is that a ground vehicle?
No, that's the capsule is much smaller.
That's not
in fact, it's about 1 meter by 1 meter.
Okay,
so
it couldn't be a
vehicle.
Taiwan cannot help. Thanks for that $15 super chat. Really helps the channel. I mean, I can't say because literally YouTube every time does this yellow dollar on this stream, and I don't earn anything from the advertisements. So these helps, small helps, really helps the channel to survive and deliver such of a content. Thank you so much for this, and yeah, let's hope we get this thing flying now.
With the help of those helicopters to the landing spot of that return capsule. As you can see, it's snow-covered ground. It's in the middle of a winter night. All of these add into the challenges of the search and retrieval of the capsule, and of course the lunar samples brought back from the moon.
I think this is the image of the convoy of the vehicles heading to the capsule.
I believe this is a video from the last video is from another helicopter.
So now we have people
there.
Yes.
Great.
In very close proximity to the capsule there. We mentioned this is not as large as you might expect. Mr. Xu just mentioned it's 1 meter by 1 meter. So this is a relatively small object. It looks like ground personnel have now arrived at the very spot near the capsule.
Draws off. I mean, literally YouTube does not help. So you people, super chats only helps this channel to survive. I mean, I literally tried to get the fireball spotted for this today's stream, and had contacted so many astronomers and like were observing the sky, but nothing was possible. So yeah, because the China does not have anything official of the trajectory, so it was not over my head and it was not possible.
What's that process like? What is he doing?
I think he's more or less preparing for the ground crews to arrive, either providing signals, beacons, or also preparation for the vicinity of these capsules so that irrelevant personnel would not enter. So this is the first step, that they locate and confirm the location and maybe sending signals to the ground crew.
It will be much easier now, isn't it? Before we just have the aerial visual of the capsule. Now we have somebody there on the ground in very close proximity to that.
Kendall Cook for the $8.88 super chat. Really helps this channel. Thank you so much. And yeah.
And there are very powerful searching lights
installed on the choppers to help with that.
Both on the helicopters and also
search
on
process.
the ground vehicles.
On ground vehicles also, understood.
So they will have to complete this transport of the capsule overnight to the secure location. So they have to mobilize a number of vehicles that is capable to move around in such a cold weather and heavy snow condition.
But you see from the video of the re-entry capsule has already been founded, so we can conclude that the trajectory prediction is very precise. So this proves that our ground stations have already done their job very greatly.
So this also calls for international cooperation. When you
Exactly.
talk about ground stations, there are a number of countries, Argentina, European Space Agencies, Pakistan, Nairobi, and many other countries, that also including our own facilities. All of these are open their eyes
now we
to
are
look
here,
at
as you can see. If you have just joined in, let me just update you. China has spotted the return capsule, and they are right now trying to recover it, and recovery operation is on the go. The image which you are seeing is the infrared image, and yes, this is what is happening. And Samuel, you asked me why is YouTube does not pay me, because I don't know why the YouTube automated system detects this as not advertisement friendly. So yeah, that's the thing.
The start of the mission and the end
So
of the mission.
also we have this thing right now, the live view of the color image of the return capsule, and we can see it live. Wow.
Visible light video.
This is, I think, is the crew that set up the camera that we just saw.
The human being we just saw, that infrared image.
He provided this picture. Maybe he set up a camera, and then there was a light from, I think, from helicopter.
So we have a chopper flying above the capsule. We have ground staff, ground personnel that have set up a camera that could transmit those images.
Yes.
So we're looking at the capsule itself now.
Okay.
This is
now the crew has arrived.
So they've checked the integrity of the vehicle, and also they will cut the ropes connecting to the parachutes to avoid the influence of wind.
They're checking, they're assessing the status of the capsule. How soon till they open it to check on the samples?
Could be hours.
Not this moment.
Could
Okay.
be hours.
It's not going to happen very soon.
Not on site.
Not on site.
But it's a precious cargo.
So
Absolutely.
right now,
That
guys,
has traveled so
the team
far
has
back
arrived,
home.
and we can see that the camera view which you are seeing on the left-hand side
If
is
you're
the
just
actual
joining us
view
here
of the return capsule, and they are right now securing it for any and checking the gas leaks, because this had the propulsion system for attitude control during the re-entry. So yeah, the hypergolic fuels are in there, much similar like the Crew Dragon recovery. When it happens, they also check for the any leaks or gas are surrounding them, and this is the view right now, and this is how it looks like. And I'm so happy that it has now finally come down towards the earth, and this thing has lunar soil, or you can say the moon rocks. I'm so happy, and yeah, let's hope this thing becomes a great success now.
This is also very helpful for today's operations.
Which is probably why it went so well, so smoothly today.
Because it's so fast.
They were able to locate it in a relatively short period of time.
Yes.
Yes, and yet the ground crew has to travel in pitch dark because there's no habitations in that area. So they have to travel in pitch dark in snowy weather. So it's
the
very tough.
reason why this region was chosen is because it's very sparsely populated, so people aren't exactly at risk here. But that also means you don't have much infrastructure there to support you. You're going to have to travel on snow-covered ground to the site where
they do have
lands.
this kind of conflict. Yeah. And also, it must be a very flat place. So if
another reason why this region is chosen.
If it's landed in the mountains, so it will be very difficult for the ground team to find it. And also
the steep terrain at mountainous areas could also damage the capsule itself. So flat ground is preferred here.
You know that before today's recovery, also the ground team have the whole landing site system has already marked all the rivers, the lakes near this place. So it is really possible.
I was under the impression that there aren't many rivers or lakes in that region.
There aren't many, but they do have some.
They have some.
So because similar things happened for the former Soviet Union. One of the sample return of the re-entry capsule dropped to a place very near to the river. So there do have this kind of risk that is drunk into the river.
But not for now.
Yes.
Rivers and lakes doesn't work now.
Because of the
winter. Snow is all frozen.
It's very snowy
so
there.
This night mission is very challenging. Others are during daytime, we could even see the parachutes. But at night, you can only rely on the infrared images, the beacons, and the signals.
Did we have an option when it comes to choosing whether it's daytime or nighttime for it to land? Did we have that option? Could we have done it in the daytime?
Like Professor Yang mentioned, that's the window. That window have to satisfy the trajectories, the moon, the earth conditions, and everything. So narrow everything down. This is the perfect time for landing. So we could choose daytime, but that might not be an optimum choice.
Exactly, that's what I was
trying
to say.
The moon is orbiting the Earth every 27 days, and also the Earth is rotating one circle every day. So if we want to land on the Sizhuang banner, we don't have much choice. We must consider all the movements. So when it comes back from the moon, the window is very narrow, so we don't have much
thank you
choice.
for providing this live stream to share with the world of the space nerds. Yes, Jim, that's what I do. I mean, I cover all the space events and the rocket launches that happens in the space industry. Hosting with you here, explaining everything that is there, the history of it and everything. So that's what I do, and yeah, to keep up the channel, your small fundings really helps it running. So thank you so much, Jim.
Re-entry capsule, more and more ground vehicles have gathered to this place.
So it will be some time before they open the capsule and take its contents out. They will use this time to first, as we mentioned, to check the status, the integrity of the capsule, making sure it's all okay. And it will be some time before they open it to retrieve the lunar samples. Those are soil and rock samples collected from the moon.
We've discussed about what the first person come here do, as shown from the infrared image. Now we can possibly, he set up the video camera, and the video from on the left of the screen is from the camera he mounted. Oh, this is another infrared. So many
As
people
you can
have
see,
arrived.
many ground personnel there have arrived on the scene and are standing by near where the capsule is now located. It's been lighted by.
So guys, this is right now why they are just waiting for some time. I mean, the thing is why they are waiting is like there are some gas buildup during the re-entry process, and also this thing had hypergolic fuels in it. Okay, so that hypergolic fuels could be dangerous right now, so they are just waiting for all those things to settle and react by themselves. That's what we call as, there is one special term also for it, off gassing or something like that. Thank you, Jerry, for that €5. Thank you for the work from a Chinese living in Holland. Thank you so much. Really helps the channel. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, the hypergolic fuels in it limits it's like opening at that time only, because those gas and something like that can mix with the samples also. So that's why they are right now just waiting for everything to settle down, every reaction to take place, if any reaction has to take place, and this thing to be successful as possible. And just one thing I would like to share, that China will be sharing the samples all over the world for research and analysis. Firstly, they will obviously be taking themselves, and then they will be sharing with the whole world. That is so cool. I mean, NASA shared the Apollo samples for to the China, and now China will be sharing to the whole world. Especially ESA and NASA will be getting some of the sample. So this is so cool. I mean, this is not a feat which has been accomplished by China. Obviously, China has demonstrated its technological advancement, and I'm so happy for them. Some countries really pushing the space hard, so yeah, I'm happy for them. But the thing is, this is really a thing for humanity which has happened today. The analysis and the science which we get from these rocks which have come down today, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. This December month is so cool that we have got two extraterrestrial samples, the Hayabusa 2 samples which we got around week earlier, and now we are here with these samples just waiting for to be opened and analyzing. So cool. And I mean, yeah,
the landing spot.
But we didn't see exactly where the capsule is in comparison with the convoy. So it could be still some distance if you judging from the darkness of the capsule. So if the vehicle arrives, it will have all the flashlights and everything. So it will be like daylight for the capsule.
And judging from those images, the ground vehicles aren't traveling exactly very fast. It's it's covered in snow. They have to exercise caution.
It's an
excitement
like
of the
Shenzhou
4x4
capsule,
but Shenzhou capsule was like a bigger one. It was 7 times smaller than that, and it does look like that. But and it has, you can say, the Chang'e 5 T1 mission actually demonstrated this re-entry capability, and now everyone is there waiting for it to be settled down, everything to be settled down, and then go there and open it, or take it and recover it.
They're arriving, they're congregating the ground vehicles around the landing spot of Chang'e 5's return module.
Yes,
we can see movement of people on the ground there. Both people and vehicles.
You see the lights
arriving
here?
On the spot. We see more light. Those lights come
we can
from
almost
ground
see that the burned ablative materials on the re-entry capsule.
Now we have a better look at the capsule itself. As more ground vehicles and teams arrive there on the scene.
So this is a coordinated activity with the search and locating team, along with the transport and handling team. So these teams have to work very well. You could see this formation of the vehicle. They certainly know what they're doing, and these are based on number of exercise and previous experiences that they know where to go and what to do.
Exactly. This time they really done a very great job. You know that this time the whole landing area, theoretically speaking, it is 16 times larger than the recovery region of the Shenzhou space station.
Exactly.
So it's much larger, and the capsule is much more smaller. So it's much more difficult for them.
A larger area, a smaller object.
Yes, we can see the image. This is color image of the re-entry capsule. You can see the colors on the vehicle itself, and of course we can see that's the heating shield and the ablative materials. We can still see the signs of which have been burnt, being heated by during the re-entry. So it's.
Can these images we're seeing right now tell us about the general status, the integrity of the of the capsule?
Yes, exactly.
The Chinese national flag is being set up there on the ground near the landing spot of the return capsule of the Chang'e 5 mission. A proud moment indeed for the Chinese, for all Chinese people, as we continue to witness the Chang'e 5 mission. Gentlemen, very exciting, and it's happened, I would say, sooner than we all imagined today. Everything seems to go really well. Now we have the ground teams in close proximity to the capsule. What's going to happen next? It will be some time before they transport that module to a location where they could safely open it, where they could safely take the contents out. What's going to happen next?
As Mr. Xu has mentioned, we will not open this capsule at this moment. You see that we collect the samples possibly around 2 kilograms, but this time we use a quite different method from the former Soviet Union and from Apollo program from US. You see that this time we have the primary sealing and also a secondary sealing procedure. With this consideration is to keep the original information of the samples. You see that maybe there are also gas inside the samples because it's reckless. And also there are some other components which can be influenced by the Earth's atmosphere. So you see, finally the samples will be delivered to China Academy of Science. They've already established a very special laboratory which have designed a very special environment to handle this, to open the capsule, to open the container, and also have a proper method to keep the information of the samples themselves.
So nothing will be opened on the scene here. Basically, they will check the status of the capsule, haul it back to a safe location, open it, and open the sealed samples themselves also.
Yes, but what we see today is a remarkable achievement of our lunar missions. This means a number of unprecedented practice has been done throughout this mission. I was discussing with Professor Yang that the most nerve-wracking moment was the rendezvous and docking on lunar orbit. And we overcame all the difficulties from launching to landing and to ascending and docking rendezvous to this final moment of coming back with the capsule. This is an astonishing achievement, not only to China, but also to the international community, in particular for lunar scientists and lunar fans. And also we have this capsule that came back, and we have to handle that properly. Based on the images and pictures we saw just now, that the integrity of the capsule is well kept, and the parachute is deployed properly, and ground crew is tracking with the controlled manner. So I think we can look forward to the also unprecedented handling of the lunar sample very soon.
I'm very glad you mentioned international cooperation, because we were just talking to our guest there, and he had a glass of champagne for this moment. And throughout this process, we had so many congratulations good-hearted messages from the international space community. And they, of course, they wished China well, and they wish to further take part in future cooperation with China. And as both of you mentioned, throughout this process, in the beginning, in the launch phase, in the landing phase, we enlisted and benefited from help and cooperation from our international partners. Going forward from here, will there be more international cooperation based on what China has achieved with the Chang'e 5 mission? For example, when the study of the samples gets underway, will it be shared with other partners? Professor
Well, you mentioned Mr. Bernard Froing is an old friend of mine. And also, he's also my colleagues in IAF and in Moon Village Association. So we have a very good relationship. And also, just several months before, he also helped us. He provided us a recommendation letter for IAF top award for the Chang'e 4 team. So we do have many corporations. And in the future, as already Mr. Xu has mentioned, this time we have cooperation on the telemetry and the tracking of the spacecraft. And also in the future, because there are already examples before, you see that after the final mission of the former Soviet Union, the Lunar 24, the US and the former Soviet Union do have exchange of samples, because although the US get more than 300 kilograms of samples, while the Soviet Union only have about 300 grams. But because all these samples come from different places, and from the viewpoint of scientific research, all are very useful. So they exchange their samples. I believe this time this kind of things will also happen. So China, although many years before the US...
China was given a little bit sample also, right, as a gift.
Yeah. From President Reagan. Yes.
From NASA, yes.
Yeah, yes. Because, you know, that's many decades before, the US gave us 1 gram of lunar reckless as a gift. And also, with this 1 gram, half of them was exhibited in the Beijing Planetarium, and the other half was studied by Professor Ouyang Ziyuan, and get many useful scientific results. And we have published many articles on journals.
Let's take another look at those images showing the return capsule of the Chang'e 5 mission in northern China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. As you can see, the Chinese national flag there flying in the wind, standing just beside the capsule. A proud moment for China and for the Chinese people. The international community also is watching this closely.
From the national flag, we can see that it's really windy on the landing site. The wind have a very remarkable influence to the trajectory, especially when the main parachute is deployed. So we must consider this. And also, you may heard from the reports today, several hours before, there are several times the weather forecasting is also very critical for this operation.
You can see one of the experts has touched on the capsule itself. So it is checking all the...
so it is now being checked, guys, and let's see if this thing gets every humankind a big gift to it should be a big gift to a humanity and beyond.
Caused by the heating during the re-entry.
All right, gentlemen, hold that thought. I'd like to bring in another guest, Stephen Clark, editor of Spaceflight Now. Mr. Clark, thank you so much for joining us in this very exciting moment. I don't know if you're looking at these images also, but we're looking at the visuals of the return module that has now successfully landed. This mission itself marks the first round-trip flight to the moon to collect samples since 1976. Talk to us about why hasn't there been any such attempt in more than 40 years?
Yes, and that last 76 was a Soviet mission, Lunar 24 mission, and you know, since then, NASA, for example, has been refocusing a lot of its robotic space exploration on Mars, where scientists think there's a better chance to find at least an environment that at one time, billions of years ago, supported life. No scientists think that life ever existed really on the moon. So NASA really hasn't been stagnating, but they've focused their missions elsewhere, going deeper into the solar system over the last 40 plus years. And as that's been happening, China's been slowly developing its space capabilities with the lunar program over the last 10 to 15 years or so. And this is the culmination of that program, or a culmination in that program as they move forward.
How would you compare China's lunar missions with those of the United States and the Soviet Union? In the past, as we understand, as you just mentioned, the United States in particular has moved its focus elsewhere.
Well, the United States has moved its focus elsewhere over the last few decades, but I should point out that the Artemis program that NASA is pursuing is looking back to sending humans to the moon again sometime in the next decade. As for comparing this mission to past moon missions of the Soviet Union and the United States, this is a very impressive accomplishment for China. But it is, it is robotic, so it doesn't have quite the complexity of sending astronauts to the moon as NASA did in the Apollo program. But one thing I would like to point out is the way China accomplished this mission was to land the spacecraft on the moon, launch the samples off of the moon, and then perform an automated docking with the return capsule in orbit around the moon. And that really wasn't necessary to complete the mission. The Soviet Luna program of the 70s launched from the moon and came directly back to Earth. But demonstrating that automated docking technology in deep space, in orbit around the moon, is a prerequisite for sending people to the moon. And China accomplishing that with this mission sets the stage, is a key demonstration of technology that will be needed to eventually send astronauts back to the moon.
A lot of firsts in this mission, a lot of challenges accomplished in this mission, a lot of nerve-wracking moments as we all witnessed the mission with breath that was bated. Can we also talk about your expectations for the study of the samples? What will you be looking out for as the study of the samples gets underway later?
Well, scientists are eager to get their hands on these rocks that came back from the moon. The Chang'e 5 mission landed in a region of the moon that hasn't really been visited before by a spacecraft, and scientists don't have rocks from that area of the moon. And the data from orbit and from remote observations indicate that volcanic activity in this region of the Ocean of Storms persisted till maybe up to about 1 billion years ago, which is still a long time ago. But all of the rocks brought back by the Luna missions and the Apollo missions from the 60s and 70s all those rocks are over 3 billion years old. So scientists are eager to get their hands on these samples to start analyzing and dating the rocks, and perhaps find some evidence of some more recent volcanic activity on the moon, which would shed some light on how the moon evolved after its formation, 4+ billion years ago.
Mr. Clark, 1 second, please. We're getting some new information in here. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stand by. We do understand that a congratulatory letter has been issued on the successful landing of the return module of the Chang'e 5 mission, a proud moment for China and the Chinese people. We do not have the details of that letter yet. We will get it to you as soon as we have more information on that. So please stay with us here on CGTN. Do we still have Mr. Clark with us on the line here?
Still here.
Can I also talk to you about future international cooperation? Because before you came on, my guests were telling me that China had a lot of help with our international partners, both in the launch phase and the return and landing phase. After this mission, how do you expect international cooperation with China will look like?
Well, China's next lunar mission, Chang'e 6, there's a French science instrument that's going to be on that mission, and China has carried international instruments to the moon on some of its previous missions as well. Going forward, there's a lot of question about whether China may be able to cooperate with NASA on lunar exploration, but NASA is currently prohibited by law from any bilateral cooperation in space exploration with China. However, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine just a couple of days ago mentioned that while NASA, will follow that law as long as that law is in place, he didn't rule out any sort of collaboration with China, perhaps in the more distant future. And specifically, he mentioned maybe a Chinese-American partnership could be part of a future trade deal between the United States and China to enable that partnership. But something like that will require an act of Congress, and there's no change in congressional thought on that in the near future.
Stephen Clark, editor of Spaceflight Now, we appreciate you joining us today in this very special moment. Thank you so much for your analysis and your insight. Thank you. And let's come back to my studio guests here, Professor Yang and Mr. Xu. Talking about what's going to happen from here, because we have achieved so much on this mission. We've had so many firsts. We've had many, many challenges that China was able to overcome. You both mentioned one particular step, the rendezvous and docking in the lunar orbit. With all of those experiences accumulated by China this time, where does that take us next in China's lunar ambitions?
You know that for China's lunar exploration, there are 3 big steps and 3 small steps. The 绕、落回, or the orbiting, landing, and returning is the 3 small steps.
We've accomplished
all
of these steps.
Today, we've accomplished these small 3 steps. The 3 big steps are 探登驻 means exploration, manned mission to the moon, and also permanent residence on the moon. So today's accomplishment is not the end, but the beginning of the next step. So after the mission, you know that we've already formed the tradition. You see, Chang'e 2 is originally the backup of Chang'e 1. And Chang'e 4 originally is the backup of Chang'e 3. After the successful mission of Chang'e 1 and Chang'e 3, the Chang'e 2 and the Chang'e 4 has different missions. So this time, as we have discussed before, Chang'e 6 originally is the backup of Chang'e 5, because today Chang'e 5 already have a very great success. So in the future, the China National Space Administration has announced that if Chang'e 5 is a successful mission, Chang'e 6 will have a sample return from the South Pole regions of the moon. So you see, that's...
What is the timeline for that? Do we know the timeline for that now?
Well, within several years. It depends on the schedule announced by the formally announcement from the CNSA. And also, Chang'e 7 mission will have on-site research. We will perform many on-site research in the South Pole region. And for the Chang'e 8, continue the on-site research, and also we will demonstrate many technologies, for instance, such as on-site resource utilization. If we can find water, maybe we will to do something from the water. So you see, all these Chang'e 6, 7, 8 missions will prepare to establish a robotic research station on the South Pole of the moon, because South Pole is very important. Since the Clementine mission in the 1990s of the last century, it is found that there are water on the lunar surface. So utilizing the water, especially in the South Pole, will be a very hot topic for the human being, for all the space-capable nations.
A new landmark, but never the end, but rather a new beginning for more endeavors in the future. But I think it's fair to say for all of those engineers that have worked tirelessly on this mission at Chang'e 5, they can breathe a sigh of relief after today and maybe get some rest as well. Mr. Xu, your take on where we go from here. What is the next step we all look out for?
Well, I think this is the completion of the first phase, first 3 phases, orbiting, landing, and sample returning. Clearly demonstrate many technologies that we have. The next step would be, I still a personal strong believer in international cooperation. Even this mission, we rely on many international partners. The U.S. initiated the Artemis program, which is also a human mission to the moon with a lunar orbiting space station. This is, of course, a first step. Also, many international partners are participating in this. We have to evaluate on these realistic conditions, and also on the next step, we have to rely not only on technical demonstration technologies and know-hows, but also on the economic growth of our nation and the justification of manned missions. So all of this has to be considered very carefully, technologies, money-wise, human resource-wise, scientific-wise, and the willingness of the people, and the significance of the scientific return. So all of this has to be considered very carefully.
So in the shorter term, when people look forward for more news about those samples that we, paid painstaking efforts really to go all the way to the moon and bring back to Earth, how soon do we think we can hear some news or maybe some results, partial or complete, about those lunar samples? They will take a fairly considerable amount of time to study.
Well, you see that it has been announced by the CNSA that the sample will be divided to several parts. Some of will be exhibited to the public. So maybe we can see that from the, for instance, maybe some museum or Beijing planetarium, because you see that's the gifts from the US. Half of the 1 gram of lunar samples was exhibited in the Beijing planetarium. And also,
but will their looks be very exciting because they will look just like rock and soils that people normally see?
Actually speaking, I believe Mr. Xi also sees the samples exhibited in Washington D.C.
Yes.
Their museum. They have samples from different Apollo missions, and I believe this time we will also have this kind of. So both of us have the chance to see these samples from these exhibitions, and another part will be properly stored. You see that maybe some will be stored in Beijing and some will be announced to stored in Hunan, and also other parts will be studied by the scientists. There are also, as I mentioned, there is a very special laboratory in China Academy of Science, and also maybe there is the CNSA will announce the procedure for the applications. Maybe the universities and other research institutes can deliver applications to CNSA to apply for maybe some small amount of these samples. And moreover, with this kind of research, as we have already discussed, maybe there are also international cooperation. So maybe there are different ways because
could China be given part of the samples to other countries?
Yes,
could that
as
happen?
Mr. Xi has mentioned, maybe some as gifts, and also exchange with U.S. and Russia, and also maybe some joint research with other countries.
Well, I think these samples, once they're back there, have to be studied in many perspectives, physically, chemically, biologically, isotopically.
In a word.
Yeah, it's from all different perspectives to understand not only the moon geology but also many other factors, including the in situ resource in the future. So we have to first look at the samples and categorize them into different categories, and even exhibit some of them to the public. I strongly believe that that should be done. Like Mr. Yang mentioned, that the Smithsonian Institute has displayed a piece of moon rock on the entrance of that museum that everybody can touch. So I touched that one. I think it's a very exciting moment.
It will generate a lot of enthusiasm and interest in the general public, wouldn't it? Because people keep talking about why do we do this? Why do we spend all that, all that money, all those resources on something that seems a little far reaching here? It is exactly those exhibits where you come into close proximity to what we have achieved that remind you of the significance of these missions. Gentlemen, we'll continue talking about this in just a moment. But for now, Chinese President Xi Jinping has sent a congratulatory message on the successful return of the Chang'e 5 probe. And State Councilor Wang Yong read Xi's message on his behalf. There, a congratulatory message from the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, signifying just how important this mission has been for China. I want to briefly review with you this historic mission because, as we talked about, so many firsts, so many challenges overcome, and so many moments where we had to hold our breath a little bit, nerve-wracking moments. What was the most impressive for you, Professor?
I've discussed this privately with Mr. Xi. The most impressive part and the most nervous part for me is the lunar orbit rendezvous and docking. You see, this time, as you mentioned, we have many firsts of our country, but the unmanned lunar rendezvous and docking is the first in the world. So you see,
China didn't have to do that, right? If it based its experience, hold that thought. We'll be coming back to that later in our
level of
coverage here.
complexity this mission had was like immensely hard. This mission was like extremely hard on the hardcore mode. China went on to a hardcore mode on this mission, and they literally started the game and went on to the hardcore mode, and yeah, now they are successful. I mean, wow, literally congrats to China. I mean, wow.
This mission has achieved a complete success. As you can see, all the engineers and scientists are now celebrating. This room was filled with celebration and excitement because their years of efforts have been paid off. And now we can see many of these engineers are taking photos to remember this historical moment. And actually, over the past few hours, we have been here to witness this historical moment along with these scientists and engineers. And we have been told that after about 50 minutes of this landing, and Chinese engineers have taken about 30 minutes to locate and find the return capsule of the Chang'e 5 mission. And the director of the China National Space Administration, Zhang Kejian, has announced a complete success about the Chang'e 5 lunar sample return mission. And for more, I'm very glad to be joined by He Jian, the GNC commander of Chang'e 5 mission. Hello, Mrs. He. I'm very glad to be happy to join with you. And so 我们想了解一下，就是作为一个航天工作者，您现在的心情怎么样 ？How do you feel about this Chang'e 5 mission right now, right here?
我觉得是非常的激动。
For myself, of course, I'm so excited, but also at the same time, I just can say I catch up my breath. I feel relieved, so I'm quite relaxed right now.
觉得很有感触的这个
So
10年。
actually, really, a lot of things happened in the past decade. 10 years, talk about my experience, efforts, I right now all come back.
So what are the major challenges for you during the whole process? 那您觉得作为一个指挥，就是控制系统的指挥，最大的挑战是什么呢？
我觉得就是在有限的这个时间里面，
within the limited time,
能够利用这个新的技术，
we need to utilize the advanced technologies. Because this is something that actually we never used before, so we made a groundbreaking, and right now we see the outcomes. I believe this is really the good news for us, and also we have a really good culture. So that's a carrying forward generation by generation as well as technologies. So because of the culture, because of the technology, we have a really strong team here to realize everything.
What about the return capsule? Will it be opened in Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region or back to Beijing? 那么这个返回舱会在内蒙古打开，还是说会拿到北京来打开？为什么？
这个应该是在北京打开，
It will be opened in Beijing
返回器它要有一定的
because it needed a certain environmental requirement, because it's a sealed capsule, because right now the soil unwrapped from the moon is here in Earth in China, so it's a really strict and scientific process.
So what's next for China's lunar products? 那接下来中国的探月工程还有什么亮点值得期待？
我们后续可能会对这个
Going forward,
进行这个更深
so
入
we
的
will have
探
a
索
deeper exploration
这个考察
to the lunar, and we'll find more and understanding more, because right now we have that capability, we have that confidence.
Thank you very much. 非常感谢您。好的。
Thank you.
Okay, that's He Jian, the GNC commander of Chang'e 5 mission. With this solid foundation of this mission, China actually has developed a group of young and experienced scientists and engineers, and China is expected to conduct more lunar sample missions as well as manned lunar missions and build a scientific station on the moon in the coming years. Back to you, Zhongshi.
Wulei, a great mood there where you are on that giant screen behind you. It says congratulations on the successful completion of the Chang'e 5 mission. In this moment, I believe it's fair to say we all share in their excitement, their happiness, and their relief. CGTN's Wulei, thank you so much for that report. Let's turn back to my studio guests here in Beijing. With me, a sigh of relief for everybody there at and the guest, our reporter, had there echoed the timeline of what's going to happen next. The capsule, including the contents of the capsule, will be opened once they arrive here in Beijing in a safe location, in safe surroundings.
Yes, the capsule will be shipped back to Beijing in a controlled vehicle, most probably by railway. But we are not quite certain how they will be coming back.
So this is the actual landing footage?
I think this is very exciting moment for
return
everybody.
Trajectory, sorry,
to
the
see
return
success
trajectory.
of
I
this
think
mission.
so. I don't know.
We wanted to show our viewers some of the footage we just got that would summarize the whole landing process. We, of course, now know the landing has happened successfully. We were able to find and retrieve that capsule. But let's take a look at those pictures, the footage.
If you look carefully, you have to see the below the timing of this event. So this is the exact timing of the travel of the capsule. So this is the separation of the service module with the capsule, some 5,000 kilometers away from Earth, and that's they started the re-entry process. And these are some of the images that coming back as a general summary of how this capsule came back.
So on the left of the screen is a 3D animation, and on the right previously is the image from the cameras.
The re-entry is a rather tricky process, a lot more complicated than what most people would imagine, because the spacecraft was traveling at a velocity so fast it would have to first maneuver what we call the skip step skip re-entry in order to slow down before it can safely re-enter the Earth's atmosphere.
So the re-entry velocity caused high friction with the atmosphere, so that caused high temperature. So that's
thousands of degrees.
Thousands of degrees. So that's what Professor Yang mentioned, that the heat shield as well as the insulation material has to be sacrificed to lower the temperature. So that's the whole technology process of re-entry.
If you're just joining us here on CGTN, we are reviewing the footage leading up to the successful landing of that return module that has now successfully landed in northern China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. The Chinese characters you see on the screen say this is the helicopter squad that is put in charge of the retrieval of the capsule.
Also, this is, I believe this is also videos from the helicopter, infrared image.
We have altogether more than 20 minutes of that footage that show us how this successful landing took place. We want to walk you through minute by minute just to give our viewers
footage
a better
of the
idea
parachute land. Oh, let's see how it went, guys.
Step by step.
So this is 3D animation. We can show that the re-entry capsule.
And I think the trajectory was fully off from our predictions. It actually entered from the south. Oh man!
If the separation is not properly operated, it will cause damage to the re-entry capsule. These kind of things happened before because, for instance, the Soyuz 4 and the Soyuz 5 mission performed the first docking of manned docking of the former Soviet Union, but during the re-entry, the service module and the re-entry capsule of Soyuz 5 cannot separate it properly, so it almost caused damage and the loss of human being. So you can see from the screen is a two-dimensional shows the ground track of the vehicle, and the red trail is already been performed, and the green ones are the predictions. So this point is near the western coast of the South Africa, and it's in the telemetry range of the Namibia station. China have a ground station in Namibia, so it has a good position. The ground track is very near to the Namibia station, so I believe that it's already separated.
So this is after the separation took place, but before the skip re-entry.
Just before, the re-entry, the position, the re-entry capsule touching the atmosphere is near the Indian Ocean. It's just above the Indian Ocean.
So at this point, the return capsule was still traveling at a very, very high speed, because this is before the skip re-entry.
11 kilometers.
Yes, with a speed about 11 kilometers per second.
11 kilometers per second, that is too fast for a safe re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. As we explained earlier, all those frictions could cause very high temperatures that could possibly damage the integrity of that return capsule.
From this replay, we can see that the flashing point is the re-entry capsule itself, And before that, on the left, you can see the separation point, which have an altitude about 5,000 kilometers above the Earth. So it's still very high at this moment. And after that, it's descending very fast.
So what you see, the blinking point, is what we just saw, the capsule itself. The capsule itself is traveling at 11 kilometers per second, rushing from South Africa all the way to Inner Mongolia. So this is the whole process. It would take about 20 minutes, including a skip re-entry process that happened over the northeast of African continent. So the whole process is being replayed at this moment. So this is the moment this capsule is above South Africa, and the Namibia ground station is tracking it overhead. So once that is done, it's turned over to the Karachi station, where it will continue to track over the Karachi to Pakistan territory, and then enter the Inner Mongolia area.
It will be some time before it travels to
So
northeast
you may
Africa.
notice this is ignition of the orbiter. You see that the separation is already been done, but the orbiter will have another orbit maneuver to avoid collision with the re-entry capsule.
Understood.
So Mr. Yang mentioned the orbiter. The orbiter itself actually took the capsule from the moon back to Earth and drop it to Earth. So that's the whole process. And after dropping it, the orbiter has to deorbit so that it doesn't have a collision with the capsule.
By now, we know that the helicopter squad worked efficiently and very fast in locating the capsule, but now
and
those
there we
images
have
show
the trajectory, guys,
probably their
and it was
right
literally above my head, and I was aiming to get the fireball footage, but was not able to get it. Wow.
We can already see on the two-dimensional animation the re-entry point. So it's in the Indian Ocean, very near to the Red Sea.
So this is the first skip point, skip re-entry point that I mentioned is on the northeast of the African continent.
We can also see that the Yuanwang 3 space tracking ship is in this area. So we have multiple stations to monitor the whole procedure. And because you see that the bottom of the first skip re-entry is about 60 kilometers above the Earth. So it's very low and very difficult for tracking, because a low altitude, the lower it is, the small range of the tracking station can monitor.
What are we looking at now on the right of the screen?
The three-dimensional animation.
Okay, it's an animation. It's a 3D animation.
Exactly. So this is the trajectory which it has followed for the landing you are seeing
this
right now.
This attitude is established by the orbiter, because before the separation, the orbiter must change its attitude to prepare for the
and
you can see
the
ground has tracked
also.
Guys,
this is the fireball. Okay, so they
from the
have this thing.
Facilities.
Optical tracking.
Optical tracking.
You can see the long
the
trails. You can see the long trails of the re-entry capsule. So that is caused by the ablative materials dropped from the surface of the vehicle. It can draw the heat from the vehicle and avoid the damage.
I was looking for this only over my head today, and I was literally prepared for it, but it didn't come on over my head.
How fast the return capsule is traveling. This is, of course, from earlier, before the landing of that capsule.
Because it's very, very small, even for a very powerful optical facilities, it's really difficult for this kind of tracking, much more difficult than the Shenzhou spaceship, because it's much smaller and faster.
Yeah, from the right side is the animation, from the left side is the optical tracking image. So we know that this is coming back, and we know it is heading to us. So on the optical tracking is also very important, as you mentioned, the blackout period. There's no signal that can be sent to or from the capsule. So at that period...
They were shut down for that brief period of time.
Everything is shut down because the high temperature is affecting all the radio waves. So you cannot receive any signals. Only optical observation is the best option to track it.
Besides what Mr. Xi mentioned, we also have a very special radar called the Recovery 1 near the landing site. Although we cannot communicate with the vehicle as Mr. Xi mentioned, but we can track it also with radio waves. So the Recovery 1 has already done a very good job during every re-entry of Shenzhou spaceships, and this time is also very, but not this moment. This shows just it's still outside China from the ground track.
But it's traveling further and closer.
I believe it's in the territory of Pakistan.
It's overcoming the Himalayas.
It's
and
India.
It's starting to re-enter.
It's over India right now.
So as you know that the skip re-entry will bounce the vehicle back to about 100 kilometers from the Earth, that is over the Indian Ocean, and then start re-entry after Pakistan territory. So that is the re-entry point.
We're almost there.
So what we have seen the videos of the optical trackings is very critical for the prediction of the landing point of the vehicle. All the readers and all the optical telescopes can do this.
A lot of coordination between different tracking.
I was like waiting for this to come over my head. See,
that's on the
it actually came near my overhead, but I think it was the thing was with the fireball. It was not near the atmosphere or something like that, and that's why I wasn't able to see and live stream for you guys. But I tried my best there.
The mark of the Yuanwang 3 space tracking ship, just in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
On the map, it's blinking, it's moving very slowly, sometimes too slow for the naked eye to capture, but in reality, this is moving very, very fast.
But the secondary entry, the vehicle will slow down to about 7 kilometers per second.
From 11?
From 11 to 7. So
7.
The secondary entry will be very similar to the re-entry of our Shenzhou spaceships.
We're moving towards that second re-entry, aren't we?
Yes, you can see from this, it's a trajectory that is with an inclination that coming from an angle.
So guys, if I just tell you what was okay, they changed the view. Otherwise, I would have just told you what was the point of the skip re-entry, perigee, apogee, and all those things. And this is again the fireball.
Predicted
right now seeing.
Landing coordinates several times. Each time, the ground team will adjust their position to the right place. Or you can see multiple stations have already established the links and the tracks of the vehicle itself.
Some of those locations are, some of those tracking facilities are located on the ground, on land. Some of them are from those ships, those tracking ships we talked about.
Once it is over the ocean, we have to use the ship to make a constant connection that the communication cannot stop. And we have to keep a constant eye on when and where exactly the capsule is.
Now this is, now we see another video camera's image which shows the track of the vehicle. You may notice that from the image, the previous animation, the ground stations are located in different places. So it forms what we call the baseline to predict the coordinate of the vehicle. So this is very important to have different stations from different places to get information from the vehicle.
So you can see from the announcement, they're telling the location of the landing site. In fact, you cannot control the vehicle once it is in the re-entry process.
And, I wasn't able to see it. It was like 100 kilometers above. Yeah. Actually, the thing is, the China didn't release any trajectory info, and everyone was like only speculating. So it was like near the area, but the only problem was the how high would it be. Like 100 to 140 kilometer was the apogee height, and if it would have achieved the apogee of 100 kilometer during the second re-entry, then I could have spotted it. But I don't know, maybe it has achieved the higher one, but that's why I wasn't and wasn't able to give you the perfect fireball which you could have seen live. But I tried.
And these are the final moments before that descent, right?
Yes, the announcer is saying that they have located the object and they are tracking it.
This is the thing with the
it's constant tracking, a lot of data to be analyzed,
only,
just in order to figure out where it is and where it could possibly land.
Thing you are seeing is a camera,
and continuous,
which is causing
continuous
this
tracking.
I think it's an infrared
and monitoring is very, very important for a precise prediction of the landing site. That is the reason why we can find the vehicle in 15 minutes and reach that in 30 minutes, as reported.
You can imagine how those people at the Flight Control Center work day and night in different shifts just to keep a constant eye on the mission.
And also the exercise days before is very important. You see that everything can go wrong. The communication.
Really appreciate that.
So the exercise is very necessary for the ground team and also the cooperation with the ground stations and other parts of this mission.
We are now about halfway through a 20-minute video containing footage of the landing process.
So I believe this is already the final stage where parachutes has been deployed.
Are parachutes deployed?
Because we cannot see very clearly from the image, but we can see the color of the capsule. It seems like it has been burned from the atmosphere and reflecting red. But it's moving in a slower
square area which you are seeing right now was the expected area of landing, and that was the, you can say, the area which it can land. But they don't know actually exactly where it will land. So it was like a 16 kilometer square area, I think so.
At this moment, the speed is already subsonic. Generally speaking, about 200 meters per second to 300 meters per second. So this, at this moment, is already very safe. After the deployment of the parachute, it will be completely safe.
So as Professor Yang mentioned, there are parachutes, there are main parachute, but before the main parachute, there's also a supersonic parachute that can slow down the vehicle. So there are a series of parachutes for the descent and slow down of the vehicle before landing. So it has to be controlled in a less than 10 meters per second for this landing process. Otherwise,
the parachute has been opened. Did you see that? I think so.
You see that.
Does it indicate that the parachutes have been deployed?
I think
cannot be seen very clearly.
But
has to
we saw something going off the capsule.
This is also still in the tracking and control process, but it's in the final stage, as we can see from the tracking tracks.
The voice you're hearing now is coming from the Ground Flight Command Center, where personnel there keep tracking the whereabouts of the return capsule and reporting data constantly.
Yes, we can hear the voice from the Flight Control Center continuously reporting the predicted coordinates of the landing point. And before that, you see that the temperature on the vehicle is really, really high. In our designers' language, there is a point called stagnation point, which have a temperature more than 2,000 degrees Celsius. Great. The commander reports that the main chute is deployed properly.
So I think that was working chutes which was deployed
at this point.
Wow.
As we have seen from the national flags, the wind is very strong. So this also have very great influence to the landing point.
So once you have the parachute, you can be blown off by the wind. Before the parachute is traveling very fast. The wind doesn't count.
Before the parachute is ballistic, and then after the parachute is deployed, then it is totally in control of the wind.
Module goes, but the good news is the main parachute has been deployed successfully, and we're getting closer and closer to the Earth's surface at a much slower speed right now, a much safer speed right now.
Once you have the main chute, it's like 80% success already. before we had accidents with the parachutes that did not deploy properly or function properly.
The area of the main parachute is about 50 square meters, much smaller than the Shenzhou spaceship. The Shenzhou spaceship, the area of the main chute is about 1,200 square meters, much smaller. But
is it because that required a slower speed, so a bigger
because
parachute?
The mass of the vehicle is only about 300 kilograms.
It's a lighter object. It's a lighter capsule.
The fifth prediction.
Also reporting the coordinates.
Yeah.
So these coordinates are going to be sent to the helicopter rescue and search team, and they will deploy to that particular location or near that vicinity,
so as you can
so
see
that they
here,
can help.
in the bottom right corner, the rescue team is on the way towards the location before landing only.
The helicopter squad getting ready, possibly receiving data at this point,
yes,
as they prepare to launch that squad to locate and find the returning capsule.
Because they always keep the contacts with the helicopter. So they have the every team can get the each time can get the prediction of the location of the landing points, as we have seen heard from the voice.
And it looks like the ground vehicles are being mobilized, as we saw just
continuously, because you see that we've already heard the voice of the fifth prediction of the landing location. So every time it is updated, the ground vehicle also needs to change its direction to the right place.
So they did not wait until the very last prediction to change.
Oh, great. We can see that's the final stage of the landing.
Actually, they were able to film that thing, so the thing is they already knew they didn't have to search the coordinates. Wow.
Things are going well. Hence that applause.
The Hayabusa when it landed, the capsule it landed, they didn't had this type of footage, so yeah, they literally had to go and search for the beacon signal. The beacon signal was there to have the recovery team to aid the recovery team for its location, but here also it had beacon signal, but we also had the footage. They also had a footage, so that's a really cool thing they had.
Earth orbit.
As you can see, this image shows the helicopter squad. There are, we understand, 6 choppers in total, each in charge of a specific task. There are, as you can see, search helicopter.
Yeah.
And there are command helicopter. And these are the images we showed you if you joined us earlier on our special coverage. Some of the first images we have of that.
We can almost see the cover of the parachute chamber. It's very clear.
Visible excitement in the voices coming from the ground flight center. That
and
now
guys,
we have
just keep the chat clean and maintain the decorum, because this is science, guys, space science and everything, and we should be so happy that this thing will be benefiting all of the humankind. So just keep the politics aside, and we are just team space, so let's be happy and rejoice what China has done for the whole humanity.
To locate and retrieve the module unfolded.
It's not a fox, guys. That's the white spot which you were seeing is the return capsule. That is white because of the infrared camera. The thing is which you are seeing is the infrared camera, and that whitey thing means that is heated up right now.
The mobilization of the national resource in such a system is very important for accomplishing such a mission. So this is very important remarks from the president, and also clearly indication that these samples become presidential. So we cannot move or give the samples to anyone without consent from the president.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And here we know some of the first people on the ground there were setting up equipment to get a better image, a better visual, a direct visual, a front image of that
as Mr.
capsule.
Xu has mentioned before, that part of the vehicle is under the snow. But you see that it has an angle.
That was to be expected, right?
Yeah.
That was to be.
It has an angle with the ground. This is because the center of the mass of the vehicle is not on its symmetrical
Guys, where are you seeing
axis.
the fox? I don't understand.
In fact,
where's the fox, man? There can't be fox around this thing, right?
It's not on the right top. It's on the side, as Professor Yang mentioned.
The fox, if a fox would have been there, he would have like been scared away with the boom it make during the landing, after the landing. Sorry.
About 2 minutes worth of footage left as we review for you this long process that ended with the successful landing of the returning capsule of China's Chang'e 5 mission. As you can see, more ground personnel arriving at the scene just meters away from the capsule itself. We now have a better look at the capsule there on the ground. Choppers and ground vehicles continue to move closer to the capsule. As we mentioned earlier, it's a very meticulous distribution of work there. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. The capsule will not be opened on site, nor will the samples contained inside the capsule. But a thorough checkup of the capsule itself will be conducted on site there. This will require expertise of relevant personnel, so the people you saw just now who arrived there earlier were there to help experts locate the capsule.
We can just now hear the voice from the front team reporting the final coordinates of the vehicle to the Beijing Flight Control Center.
You can see the arrival of big trucks, and so that is ready to lift and transport the capsule back to a secure location.
Maybe there was a fox, I didn't see it, but let's just focus right now on the return capsule. That's the views which you are seeing here, and there we got the Chinese flag. Really proud moment for all of the China and the Chinese people.
So now at the background there's a final announcement of the
really
administrator
proud moment, and they
Chang'e
should be proud of that, obviously.
Success.
Yes, there was, and that was a playback of that long process we now know has a happy ending, the successful landing of the return capsule of China's Chang'e 5 mission. Also, the Chang'e 5 probe has finished gathering and sealing samples from the moon and was on its way back. It has now landed. This is the first time that China retrieved samples from an extraterrestrial body. So how will the country handle the lunar samples? Guo Meiping explains.
China's Chang'e 5 lunar probe is on its way back to Earth with soil and rocks from the moon, the first such sample brought back since 1976. As we wait for the arrival of the lunar material, let me tell you what we know so far about these precious souvenirs. The Chang'e 5 lunar probe landed near a 70-kilometer wide volcanic mount on the moon's near side, which is the lunar hemisphere facing the Earth. It's a place untouched by humanity. The US and the former Soviet Union collected samples from the moon in the late 1960s and 1970s. But all those samples are very old, about 3 to 4 billion years in age. But the volcanic mount where Chang'e 5 collected its sample may have erupted about 1.3 billion years ago, which means it would contain the youngest mare basalt on the moon. These younger rocks have never been studied. If Chang'e 5 samples confirm that the moon was still active during this time, an important gap in scientists' understanding of the moon's volcanic activity would be filled and lead to the rewriting of the history of the moon. The lander shoveled up some surface material and also drilled a 2-meter deep hole and scooped up soil and rock. In order to handle and study this exciting space cargo, China has built a lunar sample laboratory at the National Astronomical Observatory to store, process, and analyze the samples. After landing on Earth, the sample will be transferred to the lab in a sealed container. The lab's special facility will prevent the sample from being contaminated by the atmosphere and water on our planet. Scientists at the lab will first unpack, sort out, and store the material. They will then conduct long-term studies of the sample according to a strict and scientific experiment design, including analyzing its mineralogical and chemical makeup. CGTN will continue to bring you up-to-date developments regarding the lunar samples brought back by Chang'e 5. So please stay tuned.
The United States collected lunar rock samples more than 4 decades ago. A small part was gifted to China and is on display at the Beijing Planetarium. The former curator of the planetarium says the gift inspired China's lunar research.
The lunar rock we see now is one of the 2 presents former U.S. National Security Advisor Zbigniew Brzezinski brought to China in 1978. The sample weighs just 1 gram and was first given to Ouyang Ziyuan, now an academician at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The key research findings have come from studying it. The sample was proven to be from the moon. It was taken from Mare Serenitatis during the Apollo 17 lunar mission. It greatly stimulated China's later lunar research, I believe. 0.5 gram, or half of the sample, was later sent to the Beijing Planetarium with a hope it could be seen by more people. The exhibition began in 2006. Since then, millions of people have seen it here. As for China's Chang'e 5 lunar mission, we've transitioned from orbiting and the descent to the very final stage, the return. Great progress and quite a lot of findings have been made. Chang'e 5 have taken samples not only on the lunar surface, but also deep underneath through drilling. It was conducted on the edge of the Oceanus Procellarum. Compared with the missions of the US and the former Soviet Union, the samples are from somewhat younger areas, so there could be a lot of new findings. I'm looking forward to it. The moon is a celestial body quite close to us, but so far away at the same time. So there's still a lot of remaining to be discovered on it. We can do research in labs on Earth after taking the samples. We can gain a deeper understanding of the moon, including its current condition, its evolution, and even the origins and evolution of the entire solar system.
The Chinese lunar exploration program is being carried out by an ongoing series of robotic missions. They're named Chang'e after a mythical goddess figure believed to live on the moon. Let's now take a look at the milestones in China's lunar exploration.
I think
the
now,
ambitious Chang'e program
okay,
started in 2004. It consists
would you like
of
to
3
see
stages:
this thing or
orbiting, landing, and returning. The first goal was to orbit the moon. In 2007, China launched the Chang'e 1 satellite. After spending 16 months in orbit, the satellite successfully concluded its mission with a controlled crash on the lunar surface, but not before obtaining a full image of the surface of the moon. The Chang'e 2 was sent into the moon's orbit in 2010. As NASA notes, it was the first Chinese lunar probe to directly enter the Earth-Moon transfer orbit without circling the Earth first. It captured the world's first full lunar map with a spatial resolution of 7 meters, showing more details of the moon's surface. Is to achieve soft landing on the moon and robotic inspection. The Chang'e 3 was launched in 2013.
that's a good info about the Chinese space
It
program.
carried with it an unmanned rover called Yutu, or Jade Rabbit, which in Chinese folklore was Chang'e's pet. It was the first soft landing on the moon since 1976, making China the 3rd country to achieve the feat, only after the US and the former Soviet Union. Next up, Chang'e 4 went into space with a lander and a rover. The probe landed on the far side of the moon, never visible from the Earth. the first time any country had managed to get there. The Yutu-2 rover carried complex equipment, allowing it to work like a CT scanner. Its on-site exploration revealed the complex geological evolution on the Moon. Now, the Chang'e 5 has embarked on the third phase of the lunar program, a return mission to collect soil and rock samples and bring them back to Earth. To follow up, Chang'e 6 expected to land on the Moon's south pole and bring back more samples from there. And Chang'e 7 probe will head to the same destination to explore the landform, material composition, and space environment. And the Chang'e 8 will carry out lunar surface tests on some key technologies. All these missions are still regarded as the first step of China's lunar program exploration, a prelude to its aims of landing astronauts and building a scientific research station on the Moon. Gao Yiming, CGTN.
And coming back to our studio conversation with my two wonderful guests here, as excited and satisfied as we are about today's accomplishments, it really opens up a new chapter in China's lunar exploration and space exploration in general. This has been the Chang'e 5 probe. Professor Yang, talk to us a bit more about what's going to happen with Chang'e 6.
You see that Chang'e 6 will landing on the South Pole regions. Whether it will be landing on the near side or the far side has not been determined, but both will be very challenging. You see that this time with Chang'e 5 landed on the near the Mount Ramker in the Ocean of Storm, which is very flat place. Although it has very special scientific research meanings, but also it is in the middle latitude, about 43 degrees. But the South Pole regions, because the terrain will be more complex and the landing itself will be very complex. And also, if it is on far side of the Moon, we still meet the same problems or challenges of the Chang'e 4 missions. So we need the data relay satellite, whether from the MacBook or from another one. So these kind of missions will also facing the very complex conditions of the South Pole regions, because you see that in these regions the direction of the sunlight is quite different from the low latitude regions. And also, although it is very useful, there are permanent sunshine areas and permanent shadow areas, but also if you want to visit these areas, we can not only depend on the lander itself. So we may need another special designed vehicles to go to these kind of so-called some deep valleys to get the rovers inside. It must have considered the continuous energy supply for this vehicle to have enough time of operation, and to get the samples, maybe have the water inside.
New technology will be required for that to be pulled off. Mr. Xu, one question people ask frequently, probably more so now after Chang'e 5, is what about China's manned lunar missions? Do we have a timeline for that? We understand there could be a few steps in between Chang'e 6, which Professor Yang just talked about, and a possible manned mission to the Moon.
Well, yes, we saw a great achievement from the Apollo missions. From 11 to 17, the Apollo has delivered man to lunar surface. But in the past 50 years, we have not done that. So for the Chinese manned missions, it is very exciting thoughts to the community. We know that the Chang'e 5 was designed to launch 2 years ago. The reason it was delayed because of the newly developed launch vehicle, the Long March 5, which was first inaugurated. The maiden flight was only 5 years ago. So we had some hiccup with the launch vehicle. For manned mission, we need bigger launch vehicle. We need more reasons. We need more resources. So the international architectural design for lunar manned mission at this moment is to land cargoes and facilities on the lunar surface, and to locate also the lunar volatiles, they call it, the resource areas that have deposit and we can have on-site in situ use of those resources. So once those are identified and clarified, can we have manned missions? So the large launch vehicle, what we call Long March 9, maybe at this moment, could be the determination point. So the size of your launch vehicle determines the size of your dream.
Professor Yang, Mr. Xu, we thank you so much for your expertise and your analysis. That has been so helpful to us today. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
And before we go, let's now take a look at some of the historic moments in Chang'e 5's very exciting journey back home.
Exactly. That's what, okay, so it will be like a replay. Okay. And we don't want right now any, I think, just a sec. Okay, so right now the thing which you were seeing was the team which was going towards the recovery capsule, and I can't play this right now just because of the song. And here white thing which you were seeing is the recovery, the capsule, the return capsule, and now they are recovering it, so it's like a replay of what actually happened today. Okay, when will the China's Mars capsule arrive? In Feb 2021? Yes, Pepper, this it was named Tianwan 1, right? Tianwan 1, yeah, it will arrive in Feb, and it will arrive along with the NASA's Perseverance rover. So we are living in a very cool time today, this year and next year. So let's hope everything goes according to the plan. And China, I mean, is going really very ambitious with this Mars mission also. I mean, for this mission, for the Chang'e 5 mission, if you ask me, I was like, how much confident for the China to achieve the missions, full missions objective. I was like, you can ask me, I was like, okay, this is a good mission and it's a very ambitious mission, but there will be at least one phase there where it will fail. But to my surprise, they never failed and was able to achieve everything and every mission objective.
Chang'e 5 lunar probe. A well-deserved congratulations to the mission and to all those people who worked tirelessly to make it a success. And before we go, let's just say, welcome back home, Chang'e 5. I'm Zhong Shi in Beijing. Thank you so much for your company on this incredible journey. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Here we have. Oh man, this was so cool. I mean, yeah, now I can talk with you guys and share my experience and what I actually observed this mission as. I mean, I really thought there could be like one phase where China could go wrong with this mission, because there were so many firsts in this mission. And I'm really very surprised to see every feat they were able to achieve. I mean, that is so gorgeous to hear and to see. I mean, the Tianwan mission of the Mars also, Tianwan mission, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but that's the Mars mission of the China, and they are also going very ambitious with that mission. I mean, with the success of this mission, the Chang'e 5 mission, I'm now really confident for the success of their Mars mission also. And their Mars mission is also very ambitious. Why am I saying that? Because it has an orbiter, it has a lander, and it has a rover. All the three things sent at the same time. I mean, hats off to China for doing such a great progress. They are literally breaking everything and becoming a space superpower, kind of a like that. So yeah, so if I want to conclude what happened during the Chang'e 5, this picture actually concludes everything. The launch, the spacecraft, the landing, scooping, drilling, sample container, and then securing the sample first of all, and then proceeding with the takeoff. Then doing the first ever automated docking near the lunar surface. I mean, wow. This docking, I really like the thing which I had a doubt with was this docking only, which they also said that like that was the most complex one which they had for this mission and was a most important milestone for them, because automated docking, first of all, docking itself is a very complex task. Everything has to go right. The people who have played KSP knows how difficult docking can be, and doing an automated docking with no control from the mission control center, I mean, heads off to them. The sender lifted off from the surface, and then achieved the orbit, and then docked with the orbiter. I'll share with you every event which actually happened. I mean, I have those footage with me to share with you, and I'll kind of share with you. But before sharing those things with you, let me just uh, conclude what am I saying. Yeah, so that is a docking thing. I mean, they achieved successfully, and that docking is not like a ISS docking with the hatch opening could be there, like, or sealing of the hatch will be there, and pressure equalization is there. No, nothing like that, because obviously we don't have any humans going in from that docking adapter. So docking mechanism was very pretty simple. I mean, the ascender had some kind of rods. If you can see in this picture also, you will be see that this not a descender, this is an ascender. Here you can see there are some rods, kind of a thing attached at a 120-degree configuration. So this is what actually helped in the docking. So these are some rods, and the orbiter had some clamps, and these rods were used to literally grab, and those clamps literally grabbed these rods with the some kind of mechanism, but it was like holding and coming to together and hugging the ascender. I'll have the footage so you'll be better able to understand that. But yeah, that docking, then the docking was there, and then that sample transfer, that was also really very cool. I mean, the sample transfer from the ascent module to the orbiter, that was also very exciting to watch and delighting to the eyes. I mean, yeah, the thing which you will see, the mechanism which it followed, I will share with you that also. The mechanism it followed during the sample transfer and securing of the sample, that was also very pretty epic. And then finally, you can say the easier part of the mission, coming from the moon, around moon and around the moon to the earth orbit. Yeah, I mean, wow. So let's that was, and then successfully landing. But I literally tried so much time for going in, and I went up, going in for a watch to have a live stream of the fireball, but I was not able to get that, and I literally managed and tried to do that. But okay, no problems. So yes, what was your confidence percentage? Walrus asked. I mean, yes, the confidence percentage for this mission for me was around 60 to 65%. Yeah, I mean, they have demonstrated the landing thing, but the so many first was there. I mean, the sampling thing was the first one, and then the ascending was the first one. They had so many components with it, and each ascender, lander, and the orbiter had solar panels. The most KSP version of a spacecraft was made, and I was like, there are so many things which they have to do, and yeah, and that's why the confidence was so low, but they literally did it so perfectly. I mean, wow. Yes, Bharat, PSLV launched today is there, and I'll be streaming that with some changes to improve the live stream. I mean, the animations and so. So do look out for that. So I'm trying to do, like, I experimented today with this stream and it went terrible. I mean, literally I can say that this stream was the terrible and was really pathetic, and I don't know how I performed in this for this one, because I didn't feel like I was going in for with 100% on this one. I mean, I did my 100%, but the output was not 100%. I thought fireball will be there, everything will be there. The subtitles were not working for this thing. I had to literally, and the problem with the Chinese launches and Chinese streams is we don't have the feed, right? And we don't have the announcement of the feed also. So literally, I start the stream and I have that tension going on. Will there be any live stream or not? Then how will I manage all those things? um, and how will I go towards my towards my terrace to see the fireball if we don't have any live stream? So hopefully that was resolved. I mean, they had the live stream, but it was it was literally cut down before I was going to the terrace, and then I had to do my backup kind of a thing. The KSP, if you were if you joined in from there, at that time the KSP was there, and yeah. Hi, Infinite Cosmos Multiverse. Thank you so much for that appreciation. I mean, the YouTube is not helping. I mean, to staying this thing alive. I really, I'm telling you. This stream also has got. I don't know what is the problem with the automated system, and yeah, advertisement revenue is not being there. So whatever super chats I get or the Patreon support I get, I'm really um, thankful to them. Because of them only these streams can become possible. And yeah, thank you so much for that, everyone who super chatted and supported one. And you also, guys, you just came here to watch this thing. I mean, that is so cool. Yes, Waylon, I'll surely look on forward for the time when arrived on Mars, and I'm also not going anywhere for that. So I'll be there, and hopefully I can do something for you to have live streams of that. For sure, I'm literally for sure telling you that we won't be having any live stream from the Chinese sources, but but I'll try to do something on my end, which I can do. I try to do this for this also, analyzing the trajectory, talking with all those. Thanks, huge shout out to Scott Tiley for providing all those information about the trajectory, and his friends who worked on it. Michael was there, and I don't remember the names, but huge shout out to Scott Tiley. Do check him out on Twitter. He's a good, very cool guy, and he provided us with the Doppler's graph during the Chang'e 5 landing. It was a pretty good thing. And Venus, the spacecraft overheat immediately. Okay, yeah, that was the. I think Russia sent one spacecraft to the the lander to the Venus uh, surface. But the problem with the Venus is it's like Eve. If you have played KSP, you know what is Eve, and it's like the final boss of KSP, the most difficult planet to land on and the most difficult planet to survive there, with the most dense atmosphere and the pressure and the heating and everything. So yeah, you know, now Venus is the hottest of all. So everything literally so NASA is planning to send one spacecraft to Venus and land there. But the thing is, okay, so listen about this. With such a huge pressure and huge temperature there on the Venus surface, they can't have computers there. Okay, literal electrical computers they can't have there. So what they're looking for is the mechanical computers. Yes, we do have the mechanical computers. Like, space is this thing, man. The computers, who would have imagined the mechanical computers who were that was you being used before the electrical one arrived. Only there are mechanical computers, you don't know. Yeah, we used to have them before these computers arrived. Like calculator we had, that was also a mechanical computer, the hardware calculator. Okay, abacus, you can say that it is like that only, kind of a mechanical computer, but yeah. So you understood what I'm trying to say. So that kind of a technology which was used in those era will be used for a Venus mission. I mean, wow, they have so many challenges, and that's why they have NASA has this competition kind of going in, and public has been invited, and all over the world has been invited for the ideas to invent all those technologies for that mission, so as to survive uh, that temperature and that kind of a thing for there. Wow. They ask when India will again go for the moon. So they have this Chandrayaan 2, Chandrayaan 3, Chandrayaan 2 was 95% successful, and now the Chandrayaan 3 is being planned. So since because of the COVID, everything has been pushed. Earlier it was planned to be launched in 2021, but now the Chandrayaan 3 is being planned to be launched in late 2021 to early 2022. And in that time, in that period, the ISRO will attempt to launch its Gaganyaan mission, uncrewed mission, first uncrewed Gaganyaan mission, and that will be a huge thing to be look out for. So yeah. So the thing is, as they mentioned in the Samuel, as they mentioned in the actual live stream also, that the Chang'e 6 will be attempting to land on the South Pole, and they have to have different technologies to be made to land on the South Pole. Okay, and India was like aiming to land on the South Pole on its first attempt. So landing on other areas of the moon is relatively easier to land on the South Pole because of all the craters and everything. And yeah, I mean the terrain there is very difficult to land on. And ISRO and India actually are aimed to do that. That was a pretty good accomplishment. I mean the ambition to go for directly for the South Pole was very cool. So yeah, they did that. And the failing, why did they fail? um ISRO hasn't released anything yet officially, so we don't know, but speculations were like the only thing which we know is that for Chandrayaan 3 we won't be having multiple engines. Like for we had 4 engines for in 4 to 5, yeah, 5 engines in was there in Chandrayaan 2 for the landing operation, but for this Chandrayaan 3 we will be having only one engine. So from that you can imagine that there was some issue with the engines, number of engines they were not able to handle, something could be like that. And one more proposal was given to harden the legs of the Chandrayaan 3 so that it could survive more of the impact. So yeah. Yes, I always go for this Elon Musk quote: failure is the option, and when you fail, you learn, and then you succeed. That's what he goes on, and he never fears failure. So that's what we should be doing in looking in for also. Yeah. And talking about this China's Chang'e 6 mission, I mean China is going really very ambitious for this thing. I mean we can have this Chang'e 6 mission flying in just next 2 years. I can guarantee you that. I mean the progress with this and the speed which they are going in for all these missions, we can expect a mission in just 2 years from now, and that Chang'e 6 mission will be landing on the South Pole and attempting to return a sample from the South Pole. Wow. I mean they have literally achieved this feat right now, and now they are aiming for a bigger one. That's what it is. Never stop in scientific and space exploration. That is so cool. Yeah, and then the Chang'e 7 mission is the station, literally station on the lunar surface. And what type of station? The lab. I mean, by station they mean the lab they are sending onto the lunar surface to analyze everything or whatever there is on the lunar surface, and that too on the South Pole. And Chang'e 8 is also will be doing that only. And by Chang'e 9 you can expect humans from the China to land on the moon. Wow. ISRO and Japan Space Agency's partnership. So for Chandrayaan 3, the ISRO is doing all its on its own, but for Chandrayaan 4, we can have the collaboration with JAXA. That's the thing. Yes, South Pole landing is more difficult because of the craters and everything. The craters and the terrain of the South Pole is a bit hard to land on because it's very rough. It's not like plain landing zone. If you have actually played KSP then and landed on South Pole of the moon, then you must be knowing what am I talking about. Then KSP also we have very hard terrain there, and yeah, it's difficult to land on South Pole in KSP also. So let's see the actual footage of everything. So just a sec. Let me just have this arranged for you to see all those things. Okay. So we had, first of all, we can see the launch footage is okay. We can skip that, but we can see the landing footage, right? The onboard camera landing footage. So let's have a look at that only. So here we have this thing here. Now shout out to Sci News. Those collection of the footages, I'm also planning to have those, but Sci News already has them. So yeah, these are from them. So credit goes to Sci News for this footage. Although these are the China's release, but he compiled all those things. So yeah. So this is the onboard camera view of the landing of this thing. You can see here, actually Scott Manley also did a smoother version of this using AI. He converted this footage into a 30 frames per second descent module to have a smoother landing footage. But this thing which you are seeing is the actual onboard camera footage from the Chang'e 5 which they had. They're not showing, why they're not showing lifting the sample? Maybe that's what their procedure is. China is kind of secretive, so yeah. Long March 9, yeah, Long March 8 is going to launch on 20th, and this Long March 8 rocket is I'll try to live stream that also. And this Long March 8 rocket is also very unique in itself, because it will be like a reusable launch vehicle which they are aiming for, although they won't be reusing it like right now, but yeah, in future SpaceX style reusability. So this is right now just falling down. That was the like horizontal velocity was there. Now it has almost kind of little to no horizontal velocity, and now it is trying to land on towards the surface. This is literally every view which you are right now seeing is from the onboard camera view. And here we go. See, little dot also becomes so big when it actually lands. So when it landed, wow. Actually, those dots are because of the meteoroids, asteroid collisions of the moon and everything. So yeah, it is. So now we can have a look at a bit different footage, and that is the after. So now it has landed, so we can have a look at it collecting so the lunar samples. Why not, right? So let's have a look at that now. So we have this thing here. Okay, so it landed, and then the scooping was there, and the drilling happened, right? So we will be having those footages here. This is the first image which this Chang'e 5 took, and this is the drilling for the samples to be taken from the moon. Literally, they did it, man. I'm so impressed with this thing. You can see it going inside and taking this was the scooping one. They scratched the surface and took the samples, and then put them back to the storage container. You can see that it has been scratched. This was the image, and then it was being stored in the ascent module. Yeah, you will see the sand or the soil being or regolith being stored down, put it down into the sample chamber, and you will have the footage. Yeah, here we go. You can see it is being like going inside it. You can see being poured inside the container. Everything then, and this was like a footage or another image of the lander, like foot of Chang'e 5 onto the surface. Wow, this was it. Now we can have a look at the ascent profile, right? The ascent one. So here we have the ascender. This is the animation, but we also had a lander cam in which it actually pushed the ascent module once. You will see the springs operation. Here we have the springs, pushed it, and then it ignited, and then it lifted off towards the orbit. Now it is going towards the orbit for a automated docking towards the ascender solar panel deployed, and yeah, it was pretty much about it. Now we can have a look at the docking. That footage was also very cool. Just a sec. This is the sender coming in for automated docking. Obviously was there to dock with the orbiter, and you can see these were the rods which I was talking about, and you will see these clamps will be like hugging this sender for completing its mission. Come on, hug me, and secured. This is how the docking was done, and now you will see the sample being transferred into the orbiter, towards the orbiter. Yeah, you will see now. And now it is being stored to actually sealed, I should say. Yeah, shield, and I think that is the heat shield only. The brown thingy you are seeing on that's the heat shield, I think so. No, yeah, I'm not wrong, that's the heat shield only of the return capsule. This is how everything is done in space, so steadily, so slowly, achieving the mission objective. That's it. Okay, so it was it, and now we can have a look at docking was done. Yeah, that's pretty much about it, I think so. It's okay. Thanks for subscribing, Sayed. On this channel, if you know, I host live streams of rocket launches, space events like these. So if you are a space nerd like me, you can consider subscribing, and do support me on Patreon, as well as for one-time funding. Super chat is enabled. It really helps to for this channel to go on and provide the content which you are seeing. So Ping Yang say, what was the midterm goal of India manned mission, to build its own space station or the ISS? No, actually the yeah, build its own space station. Actually, the human space flight human flight capability is a thing which if a country achieves, that unlocks many opportunities to harness the space resources and to you can say plan more other complex human missions. So it's a very important feat to be achieved. So if they are planning to do that, right now they have the same, when this Gaganyaan mission, they have this ISRO's Gaganyaan mission for the human space flight. After it is successfully completed, then they will aim for the space station build up. But right now we don't have any confirmation about what is the timeline by 2030 they aim for, but they can drop that thing also, the space station thing, but they can go for the moon because at that time by 2030 many countries would have reached moon and China could be one of them. NASA is literally going in 2024 to 2025. They will have this timeline change, but yeah, that's the thing. The separation, oh yeah, the separation, yeah, I could let me have that thing. I forgot about the separation. Okay, so where's the footage? There was a sample transfer. Yeah, this is the sample transfer. And here we have this thing, the footage of the ascender being separated from this shot was so cinematic. The moon was there, the sun was there, and the sun glare. I mean, this was also very cool to watch. What is the word skip mean while re-entry? Skip re-entry means that it will enter the atmosphere and then again leave the atmosphere and then again re-enter the atmosphere. That's what we call skip re-entry maneuver, and that helps reduce the re-entry effects. Where will be the humans in space in Gaganyaan mission? In Gaganyaan mission, it will be a human space flight mission. So humans will be in the crew capsule only for 7 days. They aim for 3 peoples on 7 days in for the crew into the crew capsule, and if that is successful, everything is successful, then they will aim for space station or going in for more complex human mission. The thing is, there is no point kind of a thing for why is it why if US is going, why can't China? First of all, they they are going because they can, and other thing is Samuel, we should be like lucky enough, and we should be feeling happy that that's not a feat to be achieved just by one country putting humans to the moon. If other countries will also participate, that means that will open doors for more complex mission to Mars, and then at that time we need international collaboration because these kind of missions are so hard to be accomplished. So if we have so many countries sending humans to the moon, that means they have this technology to do so, and many things can be distributed, like the cargo supply will be done by this country, the maintenance work will be done by this country, then the lift off from the surface and all those things will be done by. So you can see it's like an international collaboration, so it's a good thing if they are able to achieve that. Yes, we have a crew capsule, and they have actually tested the pad abort test. They have done a pad abort test of the crew capsule, and it was back in 2014 if I'm not wrong. And then because of the funding the ISRO didn't get, they weren't able to have that thing big forward. The Chandrayaan 2 mission was also proposed like in just 2 years. In 2008, the Chandrayaan 1 mission was successful, and then Chandrayaan 2 was proposed in 2 years, but because of the funding, they weren't able to reach the target. Now the funding has increased, so yeah. So I think that's pretty much it about the thing. I don't think so we have anything else to discuss about. Now we can just go on, and I don't feel like having that mission profile video again for you to enjoy. And that could be a good ending to the live stream, but I mean, it has ended, and it has ended successfully. So, and I have played it so many times, like we don't need now, and this thing is pretty self-explanatory. So yeah. So I think I can end the stream right now, and guys, thank you so much for your support, and keep supporting. You just keep supporting, and I'll just keep delivering. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe for a cool live stream tomorrow. Do look out for the live stream tomorrow, guys. PSL will launch. I'm trying something unique in that. Hopefully it comes out great, and let's hope everything is going good. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night. Have a great day if you are living in a day, or if you if you are having a good night. So good night, good day, good evening, good morning, whatever you wanna ask. So yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until then, this is Priyanshu Roila. You just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe.